people are like, I want to know what's going on with that thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas somebody that has to come up has to find their machine or has to find their specialists, have to find their. So you do have to do it at a certain point.
Yeah, I mean, posting the machine. I posted from that special on Showtime. I posted the machine.
Yeah, you made it off a clip.
Yeah, I made it off a clip. Yeah.
I don't know anyone who's made it not off a clip in like the last 5 years.
Well, okay? So here's my
maybe
theory.
Nate Bargatze.
No, clips during pandemic.
Oh, that's right. He was killing with the dude. Sebastian blows the fuck up with the clip. It's like so. There's only one way now to like make it in the level that we want.
But you need a body of work behind you.
Exactly.
So you need one thing. You need one explosion to get people to Google you, and then you need a body of work.
That's great. Yeah.
So like for Rogan, I would argue Rogan was the Mencia shit, and then all of a sudden everyone was like, oh fuck, he's a comic. Everyone thought he was the Fear Factor guy. Bill Burr is the Philly rant.
Yeah.
So Jim Jeffries getting punched in the head.
I was telling Chrissy D about this. Shout out to Chrissy D. Also, Chrissy D got a new show on Vice. Make sure you guys go check out Chrissy D's new show on Vice. But
and he lost his glasses.
We got to find him his glasses. Like, there's no way you could ever buy those specific types of glasses. I think they've only made one pair of those glasses. But he had this 9/11 story that he did at the Cellar.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing it and going, "Yup, he got one." And it's like it is the fucking portal. It is the vacuum, the well, and everybody who watches it gets dropped in there and gets thrown all this other stuff that Chrissy has. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
and they get to see
I'd even argue, don't walk away from the thing that got you famous. Like lean into it. Because I've had people say, people go,
hey, would you, Bert, lean into the thing?
No, people tell me all the time not to tell the machine story.
Go with it.
Dude, I've had the biggest comics in this business tell me, you need to retire that story. And I go, you don't go to my shows. I had Ari Shaffir one time told me, you have to stop telling that, right? Yeah. A real comic wouldn't tell it.
Yeah.
And I went, okay. So we were doing a storytelling show up in Calgary, and he brings me up. I tell the thing, and they're yelling at the machine. I go, no. Ari said I need to retire it. Ari went on stage after, and he could not get a word out. They would not let him speak. He goes, no. He goes, fuck it. Yeah. I was wrong. I'm wrong. Come and tell it. Yeah. But like I've had comics tell me, please stop telling that story. I've had
They just don't get it. They never had that experience with it.
I would argue if people don't.
That's frustrating though. Like people, because it's like they're judging your stand-up, and it's like they're acting like you don't write enough. Yeah. It's like, motherfucker, come to the show and then tell me I don't write enough.
Can you tell me what you were telling me yesterday? Can you tell me what you were telling me yesterday when we were just talking about shit that frustrates you? Can you tell the thing? He said the funniest fucking thing, because I was just like, we're just talking about shit that kind of let's not write jokes. Let's just be frustrated. And like just vent on that, right? Because I think that's where the shit comes from. And Mark has been only with his wife, right? That's the only girl he's been with, right? And like sometimes people judge him. Yeah. And he said this fucking. I want you to say it.
Wait, which part specifically about getting married young?
No. He goes. Everybody makes this big deal about like all the women I haven't had sex with. He goes. But they never talk about all the dicks that haven't been in my wife. And it's just like, and it was like, true. It was like anger. It was like visceral anger coming out.
That haven't been in my wife.
It was just like, think about the dicks that have been in your wives. Yeah. And it was just this beautifully like angry but like logical feeling.
Yeah. Dude, that would fuck me up in relationships.
Yes!
I would break up with chicks based on people they fucked, because I go, how could you fuck him? If you fucked him, then you think I'm like that? Yeah. I'm better than that.
It's a reflection on you, ultimately.
Dude, and if a chick's had anal sex, fuck you. Now I gotta fuck you in the ass, and I don't even want to, but you take it in the ass. Fuck, dude. I'm amen, man.
But it was one of those beautiful things where it's just like this like visceral feeling that you have, and it kind of like poured out of him.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's great.
I couldn't. I said to Joe the other day. I don't know why I said this. I said, did you and your wife talk about how many people you had sex with before you had sex the first time? And he goes, no. And Joe's one of those people, of course, that he goes, I don't deal in the past. I move from this part forward. Yeah. And I was like, I did ask my wife how many people she slept with.
Oh God.
Don't do that. I was back. That was back. Dude, I was so concerned with AIDS.
How many?
Not many.
Can you tell us?
Similar number?
Very similar number.
What's the cheek clap count?
What's that?
What's the cheek?
Well, how many individual claps?
Clap. Count.
Yeah, how many?
It's like a Harambe thing. It's like
Oh yeah. That's just fire.
You got it. You're doing it, Bert.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
You're doing it.
Let's get lit, man. Let's get lit.
Get the young audience out to the show.
Epstein did it.
Yes. I don't know if that really makes
Hillary
sense.
Clinton was on the plane.
Yes.
Chelsea Handler went to those parties.
Yes, Bert. You're nailing it.
When Chelsea had to defend that she didn't fucking
know what to say.
I don't remember.
They were at her wedding. Yeah, there's Epstein and fucking Maxwell at the wedding.
Oh, no, my wife's number's 2 more than me.
8.
Yeah.
You know his number?
Yeah.
We do our research. It's not a fucking hard one to remember.
Yeah, single digits.
6, yeah.
Single dig, you know?
Yeah. Do you count the one where you came on her thigh? Because I guess that would make it 5.
I don't count. I have a weird count. Like, I don't count blowjobs. I don't count fooling around.
For yourself or for her?
For me, it had to be penetrative. I'm fucking you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of chicks where you fucked around, like in high school. You know?
But how many girls did you actually successfully fuck?
Six.
A lot of times you probably fucked the cheeks.
6.
Yeah.
Tanya, can I get a LaCroix? When you get a drink, another little beer?
Yeah, I'll take another beer, please.
And another beer. All right, guys, we're going to take a break for a second because you know it's hard dick season. Matter of fact, every season is hard dick season, and Blue Chew is providing it, okay? Blue Chew got your back. Same active ingredients as inside Viagra or Cialis, but this is the one that's going to make sure that that girl you sleep with for the first time isn't let down, okay? Matter of fact, you probably busted a nut real quick. You're embarrassed. You need to re-up and get back in the game. What? Oh, wow. Blue Chew got your back. To the bathroom. Gobble, gobble. Few minutes later, bang. Game time. Signed, sealed, delivered. Complete forgot about you busting off fast. Blue Chew has got your back. And you can get it for free. First month for free. All you gotta do is pay $5 shipping. BlueChew.com. Make sure you use the promo code Flagrant. That's the best deal in the business. Now let's get back to the show. All right, guys, we take a break for a second. You're gonna need a tuxedo in your life. Okay? You're gonna need a tuxedo in your life. More than once. Maybe some of you guys are at the age where you're starting to get married. Your friends are gonna say, listen, there's a dress code at the wedding. You know, you saw my wedding, there's a dress code. Okay? Akash's wedding, there's a dress code. If you need a tux, the Black Tux has got your back. Let me explain what the Black Tux can do, okay? Not only are they gonna let you rent a tux, if you tried it on and it doesn't fit, and you do it within the time window, they can send you another size where it actually fits you before you go to this wedding, this event. It could be your wedding, okay? And if you love the tux or you love another one, you could buy it from them as well. What a company. What a company. If it's a one-off situation from you, Black Tux done. Rent it, you go to the wedding.
Miles used it for Mark's wedding.
Miles used it for Mark's wedding, right there. The point being, if it's one-off, you could do it. If you love your one-off, why don't you just buy it from them as well? One-stop shop, all you need. You know for a fact you're gonna need one. I'm not saying you even get it right now, but when you do, Black Tux has got your back, okay? And let me tell you something. This is a very important situation. Miles looked incredible at the wedding. Girls are going crazy, drippy, super drippy. The girls were crazy drippy because of Miles in that black tux, okay? Black, not slimming on Miles, if you know what I mean, okay? Guys, renting or buying the Black Tux is the best place to go when you need a tuxedo for a wedding or a special night. And right now, when you go to thebblacktux.com/flagrant and use the code FLAGRANT, you can get $20 off your order. That's THEBLACKTUX.com/flagrant. The code FLAGRANT to save $20. Thebblacktux.com/flagrant. Use the code FLAGRANT. Now let's get back to the show. And listen, before we get back into it, listen, Akash, we got to have a little discussion about March Madness.
Yo, this is the best time to bet. Because I know shit about college basketball, but
Yeah.
it don't matter in March Madness.
Yeah.
The #1 seed overall, I think, Purdue lost.
Yeah.
The Virginia, who was like a 4 seed, lost to a 13 seed.
Yeah.
Just bet.
Yeah.
There's crazy odds on underdogs, and underdogs stay winning.
Yeah.
Bruh, in my mind, it's like I might just use my bet online bonus and throw money at every underdog, and one of them motherfuckers is going to hit.
Because they're going to pay out like
Son,
crazy.
it pays out crazy.
That's funny. Yeah. I mean, it is just the craziest tournament. I know there's probably people listening in Europe and they're like, I don't even understand what's going on. Nobody does.
Yeah.
Nobody knows every team in the tournament. Nobody knows every... The thing about the tournament is you learn about all these players. It used to. Now a lot of these players just go right to the league. but like it used to be, you find out who the elite players in
Dwayne
college
Wade,
are.
I remember, he played for Marquette, and they destroyed the #1 seed Kentucky.
Yep.
And I was like, who the fuck is this kid?
Exactly. So you see draft stock skyrocket. Steph Curry. Nobody knew the fuck Steph Curry was. He was at Davidson. He gets to the tournament. He's just fucking blazing through teams.
Yeah.
So it is a very exciting thing. You get to see the next, generation of talent that's going to come into the NBA. And yeah, it's just a cool thing. So, if you're gonna get those bets in, betonline.ag, make sure you use the promo code FLAGRANT, and they're gonna match 50% of your initial deposit bonus up to $1,000. So let's say you put in $1,000, that's $500 extra free to gamble. Throw it on some underdogs, get crazy rich, and then just hit us back with a cool like 10-15%. No big deal. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's get back to Bert.
Also, I have a question about the early Rogan days. It's cool that Rogan like teed you up for the machine story.
Yeah.
Yes.
The early days that you were doing Rogan, what is that like? Like the first time you do it, do you think it's anything?
Dude. Oh, no. Oh, it's not.
How early were you on?
Walk us through the whole thing. What was the pod like? What did it look like,
It
etc.?
was so fucking cool.
Yeah.
You'd go to his house. He'd meet you at the front door. Kids running around, wife, dogs. And the first time I was a fan of the show, so he invited me to do the show. I can't tell you how early it was. It was early enough that it wasn't like huge yet.
Right.
He was selling flashlights on it.
Yeah.
Oh, he had ads and stuff. Though.
Flashlights.
That was the
Just
specific.
flashlights.
Just the
flashlights.
only
Just
ad.
flashlights.
Just
Okay.
flashlights, because Aubrey Marcus
Right.
I think his dad ran sex stores
Right.
and says, "Oh, what the fuck?"
Listen, you got a great friend in Tom Segura. I just want to let you know. You have a great friend.
Hey, let's switch seats, Dub. Get in here. Get in here. Scoot over. Slide over.
In Tom
Slide
Segura,
over.
who loves you so much and is willing to... This guy, I've never seen Bert look this uncomfortable. When I called up Tom, I said, Tom, what would be something fun we could do with Bert? He goes, oh, he hates balloons and he hates clouds.
You can't smell that. You can't smell that.
Smell what?
The balloons. You can't smell that. You can't smell that. I'm being dead serious.
How do you smell a balloon?
They're gonna start popping, dude. They're gonna start popping. I'm gonna have to leave. I'm being dead serious. I'm gonna have to leave.
Hey, Dub, stand at that door. Stand at that door.
Okay.
They're gonna start popping.
Listen, well, can we leave one balloon?
Give me the beer. Give me the beer. Give me the beer. No.
You gotta drink more beer.
Let's chug.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Get
gotta
him
shut.
another. Chug this, get him another.
They're really gonna pop. No, they really are, because they're really lights. They're lights.
No, those aren't even hot lights.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen if they pop, dude?
I'm
It's
gonna
just gonna make a noise.
Oh, dude, what is that? That little screech. Okay, it smells so much better.
I'm being serious. You didn't smell that.
What does it
Nobody
smell like?
smells anything.
What does it
You
smell
being,
like?
are you being serious right now?
Yes, I'm being
I'm like
serious.
shaking.
Why are you
I'm like
crying?
fucking shaking.
You have tears in your eyes.
Here you go, man.
Let's just drink, bro.
You can have this one too if you need.
Listen.
This will calm your nerves.
Here, I'll drink with you. I'll take yours, Akash. Here, cheers. The clown has been removed from the room.
Ooh,
Let's have a cheers.
fucking real.
Okay. Hold on, Bert. You know what's funny is the last time you were on here, we gave you like pro-Russia memorabilia and shit.
I would suck
didn't-
Putin's cock right now. To fucking never have that happen again. Ooh, I'm shaking. I'm like shaking.
Hold your hand
Buddy,
up. Hold your
you're
hand
I'm
okay.
not fucking. I know,
His
but I'm
back
waiting.
is
I know
sweating,
they're
dog.
in here. Like I know that it can happen again.
That was Dove.
Okay. I don't give a fuck who it was. I don't know how.
So you have a fear of clowns?
Clowns and balloons.
Hey, why balloons?
I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Is it because the condom broke that one time?
I don't know.
Ooh.
No, it is way before that. I got it as a kid.
What happened?
I don't know.
Did you watch
I don't
it?
know. Nope. Oh, no. I'll never watch that fucking movie. I would never watch that fucking movie. Hey, just do me a favor. For real, promise me he's not coming back.
He's not coming back.
He's not
He won't come
I
back.
cannot
I swear to
relax.
God,
I
he's not
can't
coming
relax.
back in.
He's not
I swear
coming
to God,
back.
he's not
I'm
coming back
fucking
in.
sweating.
Exactly.
And why don't you like clowns?
Yeah, can you
Can't trust him.
Yeah.
You can't trust him.
Did you know about this?
I tried to stop it.
Fucking,
All I could.
thank you. You're such a fucking. So for my birthday, for my call mom.
We have to give, first of all, Tom needs credit for this. I don't want to act like we did it alone. Tom deserves credit for this.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, but
Remember when I said I'd let him fuck me over?
yeah,
Well,
you were right.
we waited for you to say that on camera.
You're lucky I love you more than you love me, Tom.
Now, we do have one more thing that we have to tell you. It's just one more thing. What you've been drinking is a lie.
Is it not? I'm just fucking non-alcoholic beer.
Well, yeah, but damn, I thought we could trick you into thinking it got spiked. But yeah, we spiked it with non-alcohol.
We unspiked.
We unspiked it.
So I've just been gaining calories.
Oh wait, now you care about calories, Bert?
Jesus fuck. So I've just been sipping on
Bread.
fucking Jesus.
Buddy, you think I started drinking for you?
I was wondering. I was like,
Let's get crazy.
don't you not get into like your heaven if you drink? Your family shuns you and they put a tire around your neck and light you on fire or something. I don't know how their religion works. I am off. And that's why he brought in a real fucking drink. Oh, you motherfuckers. I'm sitting here just gaining calories going, why isn't it, how bad is my drinking that I can't
Tom,
feel
stop.
it?
I mean, stop acting like you're health conscious, Bert.
No, he wants to
Bro,
get
I'm
drunk.
fucking healthy as shit right now. I'm on steroids.
Are you on the
Fucking juice. Feel my arm.
which juice?
Fucking part of the
We're
rock.
trying to get on juice on the pod too.
Yeah?
Akash getting on peptides.
Is it orange,
Peptides.
orange juice?
Yeah, I'm on tea.
I'm waiting on my shipment.
Wait, are you on testosterone?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Really?
How you feel?
Fucking amazing.
Does it allow you to smell things that don't exist?
No. But hang on. You did not smell. I smelled it the second she walked in the room. I smelled them.
Well, you
didn't
also
smell it?
saw them.
No, I know, but the smell is what bothers me. The smell, the touching, and their unpredictability. They're never. As soon as you do that, as soon as you inflate that thing, then all of a sudden it has the possibility to explode like a drunk alcoholic father. Like a fucking just like
Now we're
slap
getting
you at
there.
any time.
Now we're getting there.
For my
Talk
49th
to us.
birthday, Rosebud Baker was on tour with us, and she thought it would be a good idea. These idiots thought it would be a good idea to fill my bunk with balloons to surprise me.
She didn't know you were afraid of
She
it.
didn't know I was afraid of them.
Oh.
And the fucking, I came in and I fucking melted down. And it's my tour bus, and it was my bunk. It was my bunk. Dude, I've had this happen so many times. On my 40th birthday, I was in Australia, and the Board of Tourism wanted to surprise me, so they put, they filled my entire room with balloons. My entire fucking room.
Jesus.
And so I was like, I had nowhere to put them because it's in a hotel room. Yeah. So, and now I come home drunk and I'm in my room's filled with balloons and I'm fucking melting down. And I call my wife and I go, I need to,
Challenge your limits.
I was like, I don't know what to do. And she goes, just have another drink and pass out. You'll be fine. They'll put them on the roof. They'll be fine in your bedroom. I couldn't get, and then in the middle of the night, the helium on all of them died at the exact same time. And in the middle of the night, every balloon in the room landed on me in the bed, and I fucking lost it. I lost it so fucking bad.
But it's okay. You're safe now. You're safe now.
I'm never safe.
We got
I'm
rid
never
of the
safe. I'm
clouds.
never safe.
Never safe from balloons and clowns.
I will never do the show ever again. I will never, ever step foot in the studio. It's so nice knowing you guys.
It's just shocking. It's just shocking.
Check out my special Razzle Dazzle.
That was the name of the clown, actually. That's
My movie, The Machine. It's coming out Memorial Day weekend. It's amazing. It's amazing. I want like what's
And
crazy
Forest
is like
Hills.
it's
Forest
amazing.
Hills.
It's amazing how how it really hit me. I don't know if you saw it. Like I'm right now. I'm just starting to relax just a titch.
But first of all, how much is a titch?
Not much.
Now, Bert,
I know the balloons are in this. I have to walk past them.
No, we put
My
them in the
daughters have
closet.
never been allowed to have balloons.
No way. So their birthdays, they never had a clown or a balloon or anything.
Hold on. No one's getting a fucking clown. That's the dumbest fucking
Yeah.
thing.
Have you ever had a clown?
No, that shit is fire, dude. My friends had clowns at their
Oh,
birthday.
your parents didn't bring a clown in. It's like the whitest thing in the world.
No, it was my friend's parents, but it was fire. The clown was fire. He rubbed his fucking leg on a coloring book, opened it up, and pages were blank. Crazy. Never forget that shit ever.
What about
dog.
magic? How do you feel about magic?
I don't mind magic. I like magic.
You can trust magic, but not clowns?
Yeah, I don't know.
Dude, you know what's funny is Tom texted me. He goes, hey, you should do the balloon clown thing later in the episode because he's going to get real jittery. And I just sent back, ha, 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 thinking that he was just busting balls. But, like, it has changed you emotionally.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
Who do you hate more, us or Ari?
Yeah, what would you have rather we...
Because we thought we were doing a nice thing, unspiking the drink.
We unspiked your drinks.
It's really, yeah. So funny, I didn't even look at the cans. I was drinking.
Well, you were
No, no,
drinking
no.
the whole can in the beginning
No,
of
when
fake
he
beer, and
opened
it
up-
was just great.
He opened up the fridge also, but shouts to Tanya, she hid all the non-alcoholic beers behind the Stellas.
That was good. That was good. Yeah, I'm not even fucking around. I'm not even fucking around.
of victory smiles upon the
I trust Ari more than I trust you guys. Because I can't promise that you'll never do something like that again. Like, I know Ari pulled me aside one time and he goes, you have to know I'll never drug you again. And I went, I do believe that.
But with us, how do you feel? Like,
I just don't trust you.
Like, what do you think that we would do? Like, for example, at the Forest Hill show, you don't think we would hire like 100 clowns to sit front row or anything, right?
Oh, I'll toss them. I'll toss them on the street.
Daniel Tosh right there?
I'll fucking Daniel toss them. Listen,
They're all gonna get in the same car and drive away.
This will be the biggest clip you have ever had of me ever. I'm being serious. Because there's no, I'm not turning anything on right now. I'm being 100% me. This is 100% me. When my wife sees this, my wife's gonna go, oh, fuck, they didn't do that, did they? Fuck.
Well, Tom did it. We had nothing to do with it, really.
Hey, Schultz, why do you and Bert not talk to each other anymore? Well, we brought 7 balloons in during the episode.
Wasn't 7. That wasn't 7.
How many? What did it smell like?
I'm being dead serious. You guys didn't smell it?
A dozen?
No.
The
Nobody
second,
smelled
oh man, the smell is what fucking got me. The clown, I mean,
What bothered you more, the
Yeah,
clown
balloons or clown?
that touched you or the balloons that were 8 feet from you?
Probably the balloons.
So the balloons, it's like an allergy for you.
No, it's just I don't know what it is. You can't trust them.
You ever seen a blimp?
It's he talks about
I went in the Goodyear
you
blimp.
can't trust him.
You're good with blimps?
Yeah, I was in the
This
Goodyear
all
blimp.
sounds like euphemisms for Jewish people, but you actually mean the thing.
What's that?
You can't trust clowns, dude.
Clowns are, man, it just doesn't make any sense why someone would do that to themselves. You know, Nate Bargatze's dad, I think, is a clown.
Oh, yeah.
He is for
Yeah.
certain.
And
And a magician.
I almost couldn't become friends with him
With Nate.
because I couldn't understand how he could have that in his family. And I'm not even fucking around.
He was made from clown sperm.
You couldn't understand how Nate could have it in his family.
Like I didn't.
But he was, yeah.
I couldn't get it.
Well, it
And
can
then,
get
but
passed
then
down.
I love Nate, and when I met Nate, it was like the first thing I go, your dad's like a clown, right? And he goes, yeah. And he was really proud of it. He's really proud of his dad. And his dad actually is, apparently, I'll never see it, but an amazing performer. He opens for him.
He opens for Nate
He
sometimes,
opens
right?
for him,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I just couldn't wrap my head around it. I went home with the chick. She was going to be 7, or she was going to be 6. My wife is 7. Or would have been
the
7.
number of girl you were gonna
I was gonna have sex with this girl.
Bro,
She
the
brought
way
me
that
home.
you
More specific,
allude
dude.
to fucking kids without even trying
Yeah.
is crazy.
What did I say?
Yeah, let's just start.
Earlier, you were like-
let's start the sentence over.
Yeah.
Let's do it again. I was
I-
fucking what would have been the 7th
was-
woman I've ever had sex
Yeah,
with.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. God damn it. Yeah.
Because before you just
Let's
said,
change subjects.
Before you just said,
Don't
I
tell
was
us we're
fucking
not
a
friends,
girl.
Bert, because we're fixing these sentences
Exactly.
for you.
We're
Don't
looking
tell
out,
us we're
dude.
not friends.
I'm definitely not doing fucking Logan Paul's podcast now. Or what's his name? Not Logan Paul, the other one. Jared Paul, Jake Paul. No,
Jake
Logan
Paul.
Paul. Logan Paul.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not doing that fucking podcast.
It's like
Why, you
Harambe.
think that they would do some jokes about
this
this?
is the Harambe generation. This is the Harambe generation. I'm gonna do his fucking thing, and he's gonna have a clown come in.
Yeah.
Because this is all everyone's a fucking. I went home with a chick one time,
Yeah.
and she was beautiful. Lived in Venice. She said, "Can I show you what I do?" This is a bizarre story. And she put in clown porn. She had shot a documentary on clown porn, and I'm not even joking. Vince Vaughn was in it. Like he was like as an extra in the back. She was friends with Vince Vaughn, and these two clowns were like, and I was like, what the fuck? I gotta get up. And Vince was with my buddy Gary Arback, and I go, is that Gary Arback? She goes, yeah, you know Gary Arback? I go, is that Vince Vaughn? And then I saw the clowns, and I was like, and I just walked out. I was like, I have to leave right now.
Why would they ruin sex like that, you know?
Why did she want to show you
I
it?
have no fucking clue.
You guys went home to have sex,
Went
and
home.
then as like a little like
She's like,
foreplay.
can I show you something? And then she put in clown porn.
Hey, buddy, you okay? Take a deep breath.
I'm not. Okay.
We're not bringing the balloons back. I promise you,
There's
we're not
no more
bringing the clowns
balloons.
back.
There's no more clowns.
Deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. You know what I mean? Indian things.
You got this, man.
One
You
more.
can
Give me one
conquer
more.
anything, bro.
Are you interested in getting over like through therapy?
Nope.
Not even.
Nope.
Like immersion therapy, nothing.
Nope.
You're just cool, just living your life, never being around a balloon.
I don't need to be around.
Don't do.
I'm not doing that.
I just saw you lick your bottom lip, and that was, you know what I mean?
No, I did that because you were laughing at me thinking about what I was doing. But I already made a promise to him that there's no more clowns and no more balloons.
Yeah,
Do
we're
you
men
want
of our
another
word.
drink?
Actual drink? We'll bring you an actual drink.
Pete.
Pete, we need another drink. We need another drink, Pete.
Would
You don't have a show tonight, do you? Because I'm worried you're not going to be able to.
I got producer space.
Shout out to Shane Torres. Shane Torres
Shane Torres.
shooting a special
I
tonight.
can't believe I can't turn it around. I'm shut down. I'm like shut down.
But this is beautiful. How often do people get this version of Bert Kreischer?
Never. If you're on an airplane with me, you get it.
Oh, are you afraid
afraid
to
of
fly?
airplanes?
I'm terrified of flying.
Oh, that's why you did the tour bus.
Oh, that's why you did the tour bus.
The tour bus.
Ah.
But you went on the Goodyear blimp?
It was one of the most terrifying experiences of my life.
I jumped out of a blimp as a child.
What?
Yeah.
That's, yeah. Okay, let's do that.
As a
We were
child?
taking off, and I was like, I'm not doing this, and I just jumped out, and they had to re-land that shit.
For real?
Yeah, because I was like, I don't play. This is stupid.
Well, it
This makes no
takes off.
sense.
It takes
super
off like
slow.
this.
Yeah.
So you're literally. I mean,
that sounds awful.
It is fucking terrifying.
It's like we're not even going into outer
and
space.
you
why are we-
land like this.
Crazy.
It is terrifying, and I thought it would be. I thought I'd be fine with it, and I wasn't, man. It was one of the worst panic attacks I've ever had in my entire fucking life. And then you just hang.
Yep.
You just hang.
Makes no
And it's
sense at all.
fucking. The only more terrified I've been, we were in a helicopter. We went to the Mother Guadalupe up in Rio,
Oh,
Virgin Mary.
isn't it Jesus? The Jesus
Is it
statue?
Jesus? I don't know,
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
And so we went.
Thanks,
Thanks, buddy.
Pete.
And so we went up in a helicopter to it. I think it's at like fucking 12,000 feet. Or
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then he just took the helicopter out over Brazil, and he said, "I have to wait here for a second." And we just didn't go anywhere. We just sat still.
Terrifying.
And I was like, dude. I was like, we need to get the fuck.
Terrified. I'm
Yeah.
terrified of helicopters for that reason.
Yeah.
Planes, in my mind, I can convince myself that like if the engines go, they can use the speed.
We hear stories of guys landing planes on
Yeah.
lakes. What's
I
his
don't
name?
think
Sully.
a jumbo jet can do that.
But we hear the story. I never hear a story of
Exactly.
a helicopter landing safely in the ocean.
They have this
on
thing
top
called
of the water.
Blade, right? And you can take a helicopter from like the West Side Highway
I'm
to
too
JFK,
scared to do that.
right?
Yeah.
And it's like twice as much as an Uber, but you're there in literally 5 minutes.
We took a helicopter from LAX to Burbank one time because I was only home for 12 hours.
Boom.
And I wanted to get the girls before they went to bed.
Yeah.
And it was one of the coolest things I ever did.
It's great. It's so fast. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But I can't stop thinking there's no fail safe for this. If the
All right, hang
engine
on.
goes.
I'm feeling better.
Okay, good.
It was funny. I can, the
I
alcohol's
knew
kicking
you'd get
in.
there. I knew you'd get there.
Are you able to finish the early Rogan stories?
No, I don't know. No.
Did we do it in the middle of those?
Yeah.
Oh.
He wasn't listening. He was pulling at you.
I'm not 100% here yet, but
No,
I'm
we're
close.
getting there.
I'm
Okay,
close.
so the helicopter thing. So I can't stop thinking
Do
about.
not fuck this up with the clown.
No.
He's not coming.
If I leave, it's to pee. I'm not going to bring anything back. I swear.
I already told you there's no more clowns and no more balloons, and we'll make sure there's none when they get out. When you get out, when you finish. Okay, but the helicopter thing. I can't. There you go. You like it because you appreciate how funny it is. First of all,
Absolute you are.
can I tell you something? And you'll be really happy about this. You'll be really happy about this.
What?
That clown that we just showed right there is antiquated. They no longer have those clowns available. We tried to get a real clown to come. We reached out to every clown company in New York.
God, this is a good story.
Clowning
Yeah.
is done. We had to fabricate a clown
Hey,
because
you
they
won,
no
dude.
longer have rentable clowns.
I love to hear that.
You're
Think
like,
about that.
You're like Walter White at the end of Breaking Bad season 4. I won.
Yeah.
You won, dude.
Yeah, man.
Think
yeah.
about that.
Think about how terrifying John Wayne Gacy was.
Oh my God.
Do you think he ruined clowns, or was it already fucked?
I think he is the beginning of ruining clowns. I would be curious. I would be really curious to see why I don't like clowns. Because I don't know.
Let's
can't
look
really.
into it,
I
can
can't
we?
identify it.
You ever do like mushrooms, like mushroom
Yeah,
therapy?
I've done everything. No, I'm not doing. I don't know if I don't know.
You don't
mushrooms-
strike me as a therapy guy.
I'm in therapy. Yeah.
New or
Shout out
you've
to
done it?
BetterHelp. I've done it. I've done it a lot. Therapy is very useful for me, but I see you laughing and I have to look over my fucking shoulder.
No. I
No
swear.
fucking clown.
I'm
swear
gonna
to
go
God.
pee, but I swear to God, I'm
okay.
not coming back with anything.
There's no clown. Go on.
Therapy is super useful.
It's
I
great.
don't pinpoint the stuff that like flying, for instance.
Yeah.
Flying. I went to therapy to try to fix my fear of flying, and the therapist said, "Well, when was the last time you flew?" I said, "Fucking Monday." She goes, "So you do it?" I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Well, then you don't have a problem. You just don't like flying." And I went, "Yeah, but I have a terrible fear of flying." She goes, "Yeah, a lot of people do. But if you can do it, then you're there. You're
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
You're figuring." My thing with flying is I drink. I've had plane flights where I wasn't drinking, where it's turbulence, and I've sobbed crying on a plane.
No.
Yeah. This Sober October, I had to fly to Minneapolis, doing the Target Center or whatever, and I can't drink, and we're taking the fucking red eye, and it's horrific turbulence, and I'm in first class, 49 years old, crying my eyes out. Crying my eyes out, shaking, holding on. I'm so bad, I will grab the person's leg next to me. I'm a horrible fear of. I have a fear of death. Really.
Yeah. Okay.
Is ultimately what it comes down to. Is I have a terrible fear of death.
Now, has this increased with success?
My fears?
Fear of death.
Yes.
I understand that.
What is it?
I think it's like you get to taste this life that is oftentimes unimaginable, and you're like, I don't want to lose this. And not only that, you have children, you have a wife, like there's all this life you get to live with them, all these things you get to see with them, and doing something frivolous, doing something dumb, doing something like fucking skydiving or whatever like that.
Yeah.
The reward of that is what? You land and you have an exhilarating moment. The risk is you throw away all this you've worked for. Like, I can completely understand that.
Yeah, I would say.
Dove, you got to get out of here.
No,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw you in here, I was like, okay, it's not happening again.
Okay, yeah. But he's still
No,
gonna.
no, it's perfect.
He's still gonna remember that you're out.
No,
Get
you're
out,
fine,
get
you're
out,
fine,
get out,
you're
get
fine,
out, get
you're
out, get out, get out, get out, get out. But now you know there's no more clowning. Yeah. Okay, go on.
That is crazy that is a.
But don't you
that's
think-
crazy that happens to me. That I don't have control over it.
Control over.
Over when the clown and the balloon showed up, that I shut down and I can't right my boat for a little while. It's crazy that's a thing that I have no control over.
Yeah, but that's the
It's
best.
phobias.
No, but I don't know. I think that's the most entertaining thing. It's like
Do you have any phobias? Oh, I would definitely wouldn't say them out loud now.
homo count.
What?
I said, does homo count? No. Do I have any phobias? Yeah, I have a huge fear of heights. I do not fuck with heights at all.
Oh,
I'm
bro, I have a
claustrophobic.
I'm claustrophobic and I have a fear of heights.
I don't fuck with heights at all.
I got stuck on the train for almost an hour once. It was one of the worst experiences of my life. And now anytime the train stops, I freak the fuck out.
Dude, I'll tell you what, my claustrophobia is so bad, I have a hard time scuba diving.
Oh, yeah. I'm not
he
gonna do
hates scuba
that.
diving.
Get that fucking mask.
like that.
Yeah, me and Rachel Ray were supposed to go scuba diving with sharks, and they sent over Rachel's claustrophobic, and they sent over the you have to have like a hood.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't do that.
You would prefer to use just the oxygen?
just
thing?
oxygen, yeah, just oxygen. Have you seen the guy who goes up? They go up in I forget who did it, but he went up in a U-2 plane. He went up in one of the spy planes that goes out of the atmosphere, so they had to wear a helmet, like a spaceman's helmet. And they're watching him, and he goes, "Okay, my nose is itching. And immediately I went, oh my God, like because he can't get to his
can't
nose.
get to your-
Oh fuck!
Yeah, dude.
And so the guy goes, just don't think about it. And he's like, no, but it's itching really bad. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Dude, claustrophobia is a motherfucker.
I didn't understand claustrophobia, and then I just got this MRI recently on my shoulder.
Fuck.
Dude.
Yeah.
Fuck, I had one of
Isn't
those. He just, all you had to do is your arm, right?
No, I was rolled
You
into
did
it.
the whole thing for you?
Yeah.
Dude?
I didn't
Yeah,
know
that
arm
scares
was
me.
an option.
Dude, I did just the arm. Mine was my elbow, wasn't my shoulder, it was
Okay,
my elbow.
yeah.
So I had to put my arm in there for like, I want to say like 30 minutes or 45 minutes. I was in there forever, and I panic would hit me. And I could feel it well up, like going, here we go, we're gonna have a panic attack right now. And then I'd go, and I took a Xanax before I went, and it still didn't fucking help.
Oh, I would
It
need
was,
the Xanax.
oh my
Wait,
God.
explain to me. So the MRI machine is just on your. You can
So
do whatever you want over
You
here,
have to put your arm in.
but they tell you can't move.
Can't
it's the
move.
not moving thing that's the problem.
Yeah.
If I had my arm in some machine and I could kind of like roll around and do whatever, I'd be okay. But when I was rolled
No,
in,
you had to stay still.
You have to stay still.
That's fucking crazy. Made
so
me crazy.
I'm back like this. I'm in this little tube, and I can't get a full breath. And I'm sure this is a function of claustrophobia, but I can't get a full breath. And I feel like, oh, well, if I could move a little bit, I could get one. But I'm breathing it like it feels like 80% of a full breath.
Yeah.
So now I'm in this little panic where I'm like, well, how do I get that last fucking 20%? Am I gonna pass out in here? I had to tap out. Halfway through, I had to tap out, go back in to finish it.
I literally think I'm in it. My logical brain, and riding the train still gets stuck for 4 or 5 minutes. My logical brain's like, nothing is gonna happen. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna run out of oxygen. I told my wife on like our third date, if we ever got stuck in an elevator for 30 seconds, you would never respect me again.
Dude.
You would never respect me again. It would be the most embarrassing thing. She got stuck on a train with me one time. She put her hand on my chest, just like calm me down. She said, your heart was fucking pounding.
Dude, I got stuck in an elevator with a bunch of Japanese men. If you think panic sounds bad in English, panic in Japanese is like... elevator, and opened the doors to the elevator, and opened the other doors, and climbed out. And
Godzilla.
the most I was like,
I would 100% try to do that. I wouldn't be strong enough. I'd fall to the bottom, but I would try to do
Dude,
that.
let's go panic for panic. I was in a top fuel dragster, right?
Top fuel dragster.
So it's a drag race. So they put you in. I'm just a passenger. First of all, you're in a flame retardant suit, zip up, right? Put the helmet on, gloves on. They put you in. They 5-point harness you, and then they strap your hands to your neck, so that you can't, because you're gonna reach out and grab something. They don't want you to touch anything. So your hands are here.
I'm not doing that.
So they put me on all the stuff, and then they go, all right, we'll get back to you. And I go, hold on. I need out of here. And they're like, well, he's going to be here in a second. I go,
No,
I need out of here right now. I
yeah.
need out. I'll tell you, panic for panic. This is the worst. This is the worst. I'm doing this show called Scream If You Know the Answer. It's a game show on roller coasters. The roller coaster they put us in is out at Magic Mountain in LA. It's the one where you stand up, they harness you in, and then they
put you
you
like
in
Superman or something like that, yeah.
so you fly through it. They have a vest on me to hold a camera, a GoPro mount, and a mic. So I'm like really tight into this thing. We pull into the station. We're like one car out, and we're sitting there, and someone goes, "Wonder what's going on?" And they're like, "All right, we're having a little problem. We're gonna bring you in a second." They bring us in. The floor raises, and they go, "All right, we're having a problem with the releases. It shouldn't be a big deal, but we have to wait until the head mechanic's gonna come out, and he'll fix it. He'll be here shortly." And I said, "Excuse me, can you just undo mine?" And they said, "No, we need to do them all at the same time." I said, "Yeah, but I'm having a little bit of a panic attack." And so the lady who's running it comes over and goes, it's going to be okay. You're the safest place you can be, but he's on his way. I said, "Where is he at the park?" She goes, "He's in his home in Tarzana."
Oh boy.
Fucking way.
It's 5 o'clock. It's fucking 5 o'clock.
Dead
And
of
this
traffic.
motherfucker's in Tarzana, and
Oh
I'm out.
God, LA traffic. Fuck me.
I was in this thing for 45 fucking minutes, in this thing, like this, facing down. I mean, melting down. The woman,
Yeah.
poor woman had to sit underneath me and hold my hand and I was crying.
So, 1,000%.
Host of the fucking,
1,000%.
I'm the host of the show. I'm fucking the host of the show, and I'm freaking out. I don't want to die. This fucking, can someone call me, sing me a song or something? Distract me? I'm fucking. I've had so many. You want to? You know what's even worse than that? Have you ever been stuck?
You're making
in
me feel
deep
bad
snow?
that we did this to
Have
you.
you ever been stuck in deep snow?
No.
So we go hella skiing in Switzerland. We go up to like fucking 10,000 feet, 12,000 feet, whatever the fuck it is. Air's thin. I'm hungover. We're all on snowboards, and they put beacons on our chests. I go, what's the beacon for? He goes, it's better to locate the body. I said, what? He goes, locate the body. Am I saying it right? Say you fall into a crevasse, I can find your body, right? I said that right? And I'm
my
like,
God, dude.
find my body? What do you mean find your body? And he goes, it's for us. It's not for you. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Nah,
Pretend
that shit
I
is
didn't
for
even-"
you.
And I'm going, hold on. There's a chance I'll disappear? And he's like, oh, yes. Okay, so just stay real close to me because I don't go in crevasse. And he goes, all right, let's go. And we start going. Now, we're on the top of a mountain in Switzerland. So it's what I would only guess maybe 4 feet of powder. I mean, it's just powder everywhere. So we start going, and I realize I'm a good snowboarder, but I hadn't snowboarded in a while. And you know your first run? You're always like, oh, yeah, I'm just warming up a little bit. Well, this is my first run. This is my first run in a couple of years, and I'm on top of a mountain in Switzerland, and all of a sudden I catch a toe, and I go face forward into the snow, and I disappear. I take my arms to push up,
Oh,
and there's
it's too
nothing
deep.
there. There's nothing there. It's too deep, and I'm like panicking, going, oh my God, this is what they mean
Yeah.
to find the body.
I literally go, I'm gonna die here.
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. And I'm fucking sitting there for, I'm not even joking, 10 minutes upside down in snow trying to push. And all of a sudden I feel a hand grab my back, pull me up, and he goes, you should see your sound guy. My sound guy is upside down, skis like this, and gear everywhere. And I was like, get us the fuck off this mountain. It was, dude, getting stuck in snow is fucking terrifying. I could talk anxiety and terrors for hours.
Sinkhole.
Keep going.
Sinkhole scares the fuck out of me, dude.
Dude, I grew up in fucking Florida. Sinkholes were everywhere.
Yep.
You'd be playing football in the street one day, next day, sinkhole.
I swear to God, I was thinking about this last night. You know when the ground just swallows up a house or whatever? What happens to the guy? I'm like, if that happened to me, that's just how I die.
That's how you
they
die.
They don't get them out
That's
of
how
it.
you die. Yeah.
It's like being buried alive. It's the worst thing that could possibly
Have you
happen
ever
in my
seen?
mind.
There's a clip online I saw one time. Haven't been able to find since, of a guy in England explaining quicksand at the beach, and he goes. I'm bad with accents, but he goes. Oh, okay, this is how. I don't know what accent I'm doing.
That's the Switzerland guy.
Yeah, Switzerland
Yeah,
guy.
Yeah.
Hello, mate. I go, all right. So this is quicksand. Very normal. Now I have safety gears everywhere. Everyone's here. We've got a air compressor to get me out. But I want to show you how it works. It's very simple. You stand here, and in a matter of seconds, you'll feel your ankle sick in. Now, if you struggle like such, it goes a little deeper. Now, it's safe for me to get up to my knee. We won't go much deeper than my knee, but watch this. As I try to get out, I'm now at my knee. So that's how it works. Let's get me out now. And someone goes, okay. And he just keeps sinking. And they're like, hold on. Okay, this is not funny anymore. Let's get me out now. And he starts going deeper and deeper. And you're watching this guy fucking spiral
Quicksand
out of
is
control.
real.
This is a video. You can find it online. I can't watch it again. How about this? Have you ever seen the guys who go spelunking?
Oh,
and
yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Or something like that.
Dude. We went spelunking in New Zealand.
Why? Can you
Fucking
explain spelunking real quick? It's like
Spelunking
caving.
it's caving.
Yeah.
It's caving.
No, never.
Now, there's a combination of the spelunking we did was in water. And as we
This is the scariest fucking thing.
as we enter it, they go, all right, we need you to get through the birth canal. And I said, what's that? And they go, it's this canal. It gets us into the cave. It's a little tight. So, but just get on your stomach and you'll marine crawl through. And there's just enough room for you to breathe, but there's one part where your face is going to go in water. Just keep going forward. It opens up.
Nope.
And so we get into the birthing canal, climb through, and we spend the next hour and a half in the most terrifying experiences I've ever had in my life. At one point, there was a waterfall And in order to get, you had to get up the waterfall, and they'd take you. You can't hear anything. It's a waterfall. They put you behind the waterfall. So you're behind the waterfall, and then you had to climb up from behind it. But at one point, you were just getting fucking bukkakied with water. And then as you got to the top, they grabbed you, and they put you in a room where it was this tall, the water was to here, and we were all sitting here just breathing like this. Now, the only thing, this is crazy, the only thing that would calm me down, and I don't know the explanation, was a camera on me. If I knew a camera was on me, I could almost act.
Yeah.
Like, and so I'd keep going, put the
Your
camera on.
fear of being
yeah.
embarrassed is worse than your fear of claustrophobia.
Yeah,
in tight spaces.
and we got done that fucking thing in New Zealand, and I remember getting out, and all of us were like, we're fucking alive. They have, in Colorado, there's I mean, horrible stories of these guys who go into these caves. I think it's called Caverns of the Wind, and they're caves, and they go in, and they will get in, and they'll get stuck like this, and they'll get their little rock chiseler to try to open up space for them.
Holy
I mean, I've Googled it and watched it. It is fucking, I can't
The
do
crazy
that.
thing is sometimes you're spelunking and then torrential rain comes. That's what happened with those Thai boys.
The Thai kids.
Yeah. And the rain raises the water level. So now those parts that you had to crawl through are completely underwater.
Yeah.
So those tight little spaces, that's why they had to give them like the oxygen tanks and shit to get out. But that,
Why were they doing that?
It was a common thing to do, to go in, like very normal to go into that cave and go to this place where I think you go to a beach. I watched a documentary on it, I think.
there's some cool, beautiful, like all those stalagmites.
Well, hold on.
You know, those like crystals.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Risk not worth the
almost-
reward for me, but I get it.
I've done a lot of spelunking. I did one in Austin, and the guy, they go, all right, we're gonna lower you in. They have a pothole, like just like you see on the street, and the guy takes the top off, and it is just the width of my shoulders.
Oh,
and
good.
he says, and they put a harness on you, and he goes, all right, I'm gonna lower you down, but you're too big. You need to go one arm down, one arm up to get through. And so they lower me down. I am fucking, all I'm thinking is, I have a GoPro on like a chest GoPro that's up in my face. And all I'm thinking is, I'm rescuing baby Jessica. That's all I was thinking, like, I'm
Baby
doing
Jessica was a story from the 80s of a girl who fell down a well, like a young girl, and the nation was
Yeah.
captivated by it.
And so, but then he yells up, hey, you're gonna see an area where it seems like you should get out. Do not get out. And I'm like, what the, like, I'm
does
hearing
that
this. All of a sudden it opens up to this beautiful place. Now you're so fucking claustrophobic that the second you see that, he's right. My initial thought was, I should stop here and take a breath before I have to go down. I think it was like 180 feet, I think was what they lowered you down. And as I see this oasis, I go, fuck this. I'm gonna keep going. And you go into even a smaller cave, and you're just getting lowered, and then it opens up to a huge fucking cave. Yeah. And you're like, and all I'm thinking is, I gotta get the fuck out of here that way. I mean,
then you walk out, right? Isn't there another exit? That's the most.
Oh yeah.
That's the most fucked up part.
Yeah,
It's like, take me in through the exit.
Yeah, have you done this?
No, but I've seen this before. It's like, why are we going this way?
Yeah.
Let me do a reverse.
And it's like a regular exit where people have tickets and
There's
they're coming in.
Stairs and shit.
Yeah, spelunking's pretty badass, you know.
Bro, have you seen there are these like natural water slides sometimes, and sometimes they're usually like part of like rivers or like waterfalls. Now, Duval was at one, and what you do is you go through this hole in the rock, and then you're completely kind of like submerged with the flowing water, and then you pop out. So you got to hold your breath for a couple seconds. Something happened where like Duval went through the wrong entrance in the rock and got stuck, couldn't breathe, can't see. So he's just stuck in the middle of this, and the water's churning everywhere, right? Oh, I got the crazy story for you afterwards. Water's churning everywhere, kicks, pushes, finally gets put back into the funnel, and then but he's like, dude, I thought I was gonna die. Like, I was like making my peace in that moment. Crazier story. There's this wave pool that they're building. I won't say who it is, and a very famous
UFC fighter,
right? Is going to check out this wave pool. The wave pool isn't ready yet. Now, the way the wave pools work is there are these engines, right, at the bottom of the pool, suck in all the water from the pool, shoot it back out. That's what creates the waves, right? He's waiting to go surf. The engines didn't have grates on them. Now all wave pools have grates. The engine's sucking the water. He gets sucked into the engine room with the water. Okay? It's not like he gets spit back out with the water. For minutes, he's getting smashed around, whatever. They shoot out the water. He can breathe for a second. It's pitch black. He doesn't know what's going on, right? Then the water comes sucked back in, shoots out. 5 minutes. Like, they shut down the pool, but they're like, where the fuck is he? How do we get him out? Think about that. You're just in this thing. You could breathe for a second and then nothing. Breathe for a second, nothing. No way out. Terrifying.
How'd he get out?
How do you get out?
They stopped the pool.
Wait, who's
and
the
they were all
UFC
there.
fighter?
We'll bleep it.
Shut the fuck up.
And
Oh my God. Oh my God.
guys, some interesting shows coming up. I'm going to be performing at my boy Gary V's conference, VCon, which is happening at the Lucas Oil Stadium. It's where the fucking Colts play. It's a football stadium. So this is going to be kind of crazy, but I'll be there May 19th. And then, of course, Calgary, where I went and shot that movie. The Thicket, look out for The Thicket. But I'm going to be coming back there August 27th to do the Great Outdoors Fest. That's going to be fucking nuts. 5,000 people in Princess Island Park. So it's just, obviously, hopefully you get some good weather. But, I mean, just come through to that. That should be absolutely crazy. Akash, what you got going on?
Yo, guys, the Bum Ass Cities tour is launching. I'm coming to your city. I'm only doing one show because who the fuck wants to be there for more than one night? But I'm coming to these cities. Well, first of all, I'm going to be there here for a few nights because it's a great city. Denver, April 20th through 22nd at the Comedy Works in downtown. I'm going to get high on 420 and do comedy. I will never do that again. It's the only time I'm going to do it. Buy tickets to that show. Now, May 3rd, East Providence. May 10th, St. Louis. May 11th, Kansas City. May 31st, Cleveland. June 1st, Columbus. All those dates and a bunch more at akashsingh.com. Get your tickets now. Now let's get back to the show.
Have you heard Cowboy Cerrone's fucking cave diving story? He told it on Rogan. I won't even do it justice. It was one of those ones where you're sitting there going like cave diving's a motherfucker. Because those guys go in and then they just, I guess you get turned around.
Oh, you don't know which way you're fucking going.
And then it gets silty and you can't see anything.
What does silty mean?
Like all
the
that
soot from the ground
all that
comes
ground is like very, very fine. It's like dust that's been sitting at the bottom of this cave forever.
So
And
when you're
you touch
walking around it, it just starts to lift.
It just goes, and then you can't see anything. These cave divers fucking die. Cave diving is like fucking wingsuiting.
Yeah, the squirrel
Like that's
suits.
how you die. Like once you pick that as a hobby, that's how you die.
Yeah.
Like we were going swimming with sharks in Hawaii, and the woman that was taking us out said, I was talking about my show because I always did dangerous stuff every week for the show. It was like crazy stuff, and she said, "Make me one promise." This is the lady who is going to be outside of the cage with the sharks. She is fearless. She goes, "Make me one promise." I said, "What's that?" She goes, "Never base jump." I said, "Why?" And she goes, "If you base jump, that'll be how you die. I can promise you that." And I was like, "Fuck, for real?" And she goes, "Her husband was the dude who hit the fucking line and vaporized."
Yeah.
That was her
Can you
husband.
explain that story?
He was wingsuiting with his dude. He was in front, and his dude was here.
So wingsuiting is it's skydiving, but you have this suit on that has like these
You're Batman.
almost flaps.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
because of that, you get
You can get lift, and so you can fly. So instead of just jumping down
Straight
and catching
down,
a
yeah,
parachute,
yeah.
you jump out off a mountain, and then the thrill of it is to get as close to objects as possible.
I see them right on the side of a
Yeah. Go over a bridge.
Yeah,
Bro, there's one where a guy goes through an opening. There's like
those guys. I mean, do you remember the one with "This is how I show my love." This is how my ADD, and the guy jumps and he goes by the balloons and just catches it.
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
those. I mean, those guys live life. Well, her husband, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was her husband was in front of her dude, his best friend, and they're going. I think they're in Asia, and they're going past a bridge, and he hits one of the fucking wires and vaporizes, and his buddy feels his buddy.
Oh no, because he's
all over
behind him.
Yeah, and he's got to still finish his flight, pull the chute. His
Holy
best friend
shit.
just vaporized in front of him.
Yeah, and ruined his outfit.
I mean, yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I wouldn't worry about my outfit. I'd be like, was my mouth open? Like, what the fuck did I just went in my mouth? Have you been tested? Like, are you clean? How many people have you slept with? But like, yeah, there's so many. I mean, I did so much stuff when I worked at Travel Channel. God, thank God for getting me out of that fucking. I would do
panic-inducing? Is that what you're saying? Thank God, or
Yeah.
you saw a little bit of it, right? In that moment, I was like that every fucking morning, sitting in a fucking shower, praying, like just going like, don't let me die today. Like, and by the way, it wasn't. Here's the weird thing is you saw it. You saw the real thing is like it wasn't real. Like it was imagined. Like I mean, stuff people did. I mean, yes, there was a risk, but it was stuff people did. But I still I would wake up with searing anxiety every morning, and I would sit in a shower. I'd say prayers. I had rituals that I would do to try to keep myself sane. I'd have rituals in the shower, but I would sit there. I remember in New Zealand we had to do there's a jump. I'm sure you can find it online, but it's they put you in a chair. It's like just a free fall. They put a rope on you, you jump, and then you canyon swing, you swing. But they put you in a chair, and they lean you backwards, and they fuck with you, and at the last minute they let go, and you fall from a chair backwards into a canyon. I knew I was doing that. I knew I had to do that. That was my job. And I woke up, and I remember sitting at the bottom of the shower going, what am I doing? Like, don't I have any value? Like, am I just a person who can go, hey, welcome back? And then jump? Like, is that my only value? And I remember thinking, I'm a comedian. I'm a talented comedian. Why am I here? Like, I'm looking at my friends blow up. Tommy is blowing up at the time. Rogan's podcast is taking off. All that's happening. And I'm sitting here as a human. They called it, I used to call myself a water dummy. Because I was filled with water. And I just jump off these things. And I think that's why I work as hard as I do now, because I had those other jobs that I didn't want. And so now when I have an opportunity to do shit, I'm like, fuck yes, I will travel every single day of the year doing stand-up, because I lived the other life where it was like, yeah, it looked nice. And if you're into that shit, then you're into it. But if you're not into it, I wasn't into it. I wasn't into it, yeah. So.
Do you think there'll be a time, because I don't know if people realize how relentlessly you tour.
Yeah.
6.
And it's not like you're just popping into clubs. You're doing it this at the highest level, and the highest level has a lot of anxiety. I don't know what your team is like, but I know like when we go in and we play certain places, it's a whole day. It's like making sure the lighting is good, making sure the setups are good, making sure everything you're going on is good. I've always wondered this with you. It's like, is there a time where you're going to go, I need like 3 months. I need 6 months. I need...
No.
I don't think he's wired like that.
I'll tell you what makes... I mean this respectfully.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what makes me different than you.
Yeah.
Is I don't know the right way to say this. It is a compliment, but it's going to come out sideways.
Okay, that's fine.
But like I got to be a failure. I got to be like a failure that no one cared about. Like I got that. It's a blessing, because there's a period when I got fired from Travel Channel and pulled off the Funny or Die tour because no one gave a fuck about me, and they were like, it's $2,000, save $2,000 and get rid of Bert. Keep Tommy and Joey and Sebastian and Fluffy. And these are my friends, and I'm watching them blow up.
Fuck.
And I would sit at the store, and I remember having a conversation with a guy that I thought we were friends with, and he was looking over my shoulder, and Sebastian walked in, and he went, yeah, and walked away from me.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing people have really cool things and go and just cachet, like comics that I was like, he's good, but I don't think he's as good as like, and I would be funny,
yeah.
But I was lucky enough to have that moment in my life. Sadly, and lucky for you, you'll never get that moment. Like you'll have what it was like to be a young comic, but you'll never have a little bit of success and then absolutely nothing, and then people going, I guess that's it for that guy. You're lucky that you'll never have it, but I'm blessed that I had the opportunity to have that. And if it wasn't for guys like Rogan, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't. And I use Joe as an exact example because Joe does what my wife does. My wife looks you in the eyes when she talks to you, and she is present. And it doesn't matter if fucking Kim Kardashian walks by, she will talk to you. Joe Rogan, I don't mean to suck the guy's cock all the time, but the truth is,
we do that quite often on this show, so you're in good company.
He would talk to you in the eyes as a friend, and he would never look past you. And I watched a lot of people do that. And so the reason I remember Ali Wong saying to me, you're acting like it's going to go away one day. She's like, you're one of the biggest comics
In the world.
in the world. Like, just fucking relax. And I wanted to go, Allie, you haven't been a failure. Like, be a failure once. And be a failure, like a legit. There was a point that if I quit comedy, not only would no one know about it, but no one would have cared. And so I was lucky enough to get that. And so
you think if you stop, it will go away?
yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, why not, right?
What I would get from that story is that
Now I'm living with the
imagine
crowd.
they came in right now. That would be perfect.
That would have been perfect.
No. What I got from that story is that you can build your success. It's like you did it once, and then you had some downtime,
Yeah.
and then you did it again, and there's some confidence that should come from that.
I also, yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I'm in control of my.
Like, I don't
shit
think
right
this
now.
is luck for you, Bert.
I think it is a little bit.
Well, no.
We were saying this when we walked in. I was saying this right when I walked in.
Yeah.
10 best comics in the world, right?
Yeah.
If you named them,
Yeah.
I would argue I'm probably wouldn't make that list. However, I am one of the biggest touring comics in the world.
You might be the biggest right now, man.
I'm number 4.
I don't know in terms of money brought in,
No,
but
no,
in
but-
terms of size of show, who else is doing a bigger show?
But that's my point. Is I think
Fluffy, maybe
Yeah,
at the
Sesto.
the
Fluffy.
baseball stadiums.
I mean, Fluffy. There's a lot of guys doing really big shit. I mean, Joe Chappelle, Fluffy, Burr. People are doing Joe Coy. People are doing big shit. But I would argue, and this is why I think I'm very grateful to be where I am.
Yeah.
But it's why I hustle as hard as I do. Is I go. I don't look at myself as talented as my peers ever. I mean, I look at what you do, and I go, God, man, he's fucking good. And then it inspires me, like, you gotta fucking work harder, man. Look at the goddamn it, he's funny as shit. You gotta fucking write more. You gotta tour more. You gotta fucking bust your ass. Like, I think it's from that period of time I got to be a failure that I'm very grateful. It's like you ever have a friend who's never been in love, and then all of a sudden they fall in love, and they're like, dude, I'm not letting go of this one.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like with stand up. I feel like that genuinely with stand up. And with movies and with television, you give me an opportunity, I'll take it, and I'll bust my ass. I'll show up sober. I'm not gonna fucking be a dick on set. Like, I'm really blessed. I'm blessed and lucky to be where I am, and I won't ignore that fact. Trust me, I've seen dudes who feel like they deserve it. Like, I won't say a name, but I can say a name very easily. We were talking about earlier about the thing.
Yeah.
That guy, watch that guy behave poorly when he should have been just a little better.
Yeah.
And he
I mean, having some fucking gratitude and believing that, I mean, there's so much luck gets us into these positions. There's no question about that. I guess, like, I look at a guy like you specifically, and I don't go, that's luck. I mean, like, but I've also toured.
Think about this, right?
Let me say this.
I'm sorry.
Not luck in terms of, like, we all need luck to get somewhere. We all need, somebody to look out. Like, I had fucking Charlemagne and Joe. I had, like, two of the most powerful people in media, like, really fucking look out for me and, like, throw me opportunities and, like, like, I'm the luck. In my mind, I'm the luckiest. In your mind, you believe you're the luckiest.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's also has to do with kind of like our perspective on life a little bit. When you believe you're lucky, you wake up and you can smile a little bit.
Yeah.
When you believe that, like, you deserve more and why am I not being looked at, like, you're gonna be bitter and angry. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, there is a skill and understanding and a component that I think that you have that I think a lot of people don't have, and you have to work hard on that. And so I don't want you to undermine that. It is not easy to do this at this level. Continually do it, continually produce it, and continually, like, make it exciting to the point where people come out. Like, it is a hard thing to do.
Yeah. No, I mean, it is a hard thing to do, but I think sometimes I try to. I think for the person watching, it's easier to identify our lucky moments, than our hard work.
Yeah, and it's better to harp on our luck than it is our hard work.
People will get bitter if you talk about, because
Yeah,
you're
it's
actually.
just-
I watch you. You're one of the smartest comics in terms of moves you make, the way you operate. Your intelligence is very overlooked because you take your shirt off or whatever.
I never want you to see. I'd rather it was sports. A perfect example. I'm probably more athletic than 98% of the comics working, but I downplay it as a joke, and I tell Tom I'll destroy you in tennis. He's like, you've never seen me play. And then I ace him 27 times.
Son, there's the clip of you shooting the fucking bow and arrow.
Yeah, like
Incredible.
I have sneaky, weird talents, but I'm never going to tell you my talent before you meet me. I want you to find it out for yourself.
Low expectations are the key to life, man.
Low expectations and over deliver.
Exactly.
It's that time.
And everybody's happy.
Yeah, I think that is, best compliment I ever got came from David Letterman. It like got me emotional. He goes, the guy takes his shirt off, and he doesn't mention it. He goes, and then he does like beautiful comedy. He's a masterful storyteller, but his shirt's off. Mm-hmm. He's like, what? Why is his shirt off? And part of me goes, I don't fucking wish I had an answer. Wish I had a fucking answer. I'm from Florida. That's my answer, I guess. I don't know. Well, I used to like cheering myself up on the road on Thursdays. So I'd rip the shirt off, kill a beer, and then make myself giggle. I don't
think you need an excuse for it. I think that oftentimes if there's someone that's jealous of what you have, they have an excuse to justify why they don't have it. And please believe if they took their shirt off, they wouldn't get your success. Please believe. Anybody thinking that is the key, just take your shirt off. That's what I love. Like any comics that are haters, like just do it. Like if that's the thing that's stopping you, by all means, just try that.
Yeah.
I guarantee you it won't work because there's something else going on. But it's a convenient thing that if somebody doesn't have it, but they're filled with fucking envy and jealousy, and you will get people that are going to be jealous.
Oh,
everybody.
Man, I've had more. It's so funny. When you're a failure, you're everyone's friend.
And everybody's favorite. Oh, he's the best guy.
I love that guy.
Oh, he's so
love that
funny.
Guy.
He's hilarious.
Get successful and you'll find out who your fucking friends are. Real quick. Real quick.
Yeah.
And
everybody loved Bernie Sanders till he had 3 houses. And you're like, socialist my ass, right? Like, it's that simple.
Yeah, it's true. All right, I'll tell the early Rogan days and then we'll wrap this up.
Cool.
And by the way, I don't hate you guys.
Oh.
I just want you to know I love you.
I know
guys.
you don't hate us.
But do you trust us?
I do.
We didn't bring him back in.
I appreciate that. And I like the energy this is taking.
Yes, it's real.
It's like very
Bro,
real.
you're going to do 40 podcasts as you promote these amazing things you have on, okay?
You
have to create something different. It has to be a different experience with Bert.
Nobody else pranked Bert. All right.
Let's not. I'm gonna go on Good Morning America, and they're gonna be like, "Hey, we got a fucking clown." I'll swing on that clown. The early Rogan days were fucking fascinating because, when you talk about Tosh doing radio, that was all we really understood, and Joe was not having it.
So when you tried to do bits, he would shut it down.
My first Rogan appearance, it would be cool to see a highlight reel of me trying to do bits on him because I was like, oh yeah, because I didn't know no one knew what a podcast was,
right?
Especially the way Joe does it. So I would be interested to clip him out. I was like, I fought a bear one time, and he was like, what region was the bear from? And you're like, I don't know what region it was from. And he was like, well, wait, why would you? And it was like very thoughtful conversation. And then I realized within 20 minutes, this is not radio.
Yeah.
And so, and I realized that the best thing you could do was listen to Joe sometimes to try to respond to him.
Yeah.
It's why today I don't feel like I'm that great when I do Rogan because it's a lot of it. I feel like I'm just catching up with a friend. And I don't know if it's entertaining as a podcast. I feel like you're just hanging out with your buddy.
Well, maybe that's the camaraderie people want. Maybe they're alone.
And maybe
they're working from home. They haven't seen anybody that day. And
it's what I used to love about it. I used to love it. So I get offered to do Rogan. I remember saying to Ari, because I didn't trust celebrities. I'd gotten in a fight with I'd gotten in beef with a comic and I just didn't trust. And I said to Ari and Redman, I said, so like, what's Joe's thing? Is he gay? And they're like, wait, what? I was like, I thought he was gay because I was like, why would he want me to come to his house? And like, what's his deal? I'm like, no, he's just a great guy. I go, no. They all got something. What is it? And then they're like, no, he's just a good guy. He thinks you're funny. Like, do his podcast. So I go, oh, yeah. I thought everyone was gay. I thought Elliot Gould was gay. Will Smith, I thought Will Smith was gay. I thought anyone that wanted anyone that wanted to be friends with me, I just figured they were gay and they wanted to fuck me. Yeah. And so I literally was like, went to his house.
The most likable guy on the planet. You can't fathom that somebody's like, I'd like to just be around you and tell stories. They just want dick.
Yeah. But I was a fan of Joe's. I was like a legit fan of Joe's. Okay. And so I go out to his house. I do the worst thing you could ever do when you meet Joe. Now I know this.
Okay.
I go, hey man, huge fan. I want to meet your dogs. I want to see your deprivation tank. I want to get high. I want to play pool, and then we can do the podcast. And Joe is like, okay. So he takes me out, introduces his dogs. We get high. We play pool. Shows me his deprivation tank. Meet his wife. Meet his kids. Do a podcast. And I'm trying to do bits, and it's not working. And then I'm like, okay. And then I just go into if he asks me a question, I'll respond to the question, which is like what we do now, but it just was not what happened in media. And so
I wish people knew what early radio days for comics were. Because what you're explaining makes so much sense. But
If
I
you've
don't
ever
know if
watched
they know.
Comics Unleashed,
Where
the comics just go around and do their bits in a circle, that was radio. That
they
was what
tee
we
you
needed.
up with the premise of your joke.
I did Bob and Tom back in the day, and you had to write out your bits. You had to write them out.
Yeah.
And so I wrote out all my bits, and then you gave them to him. And they're like, so,
You ever go to Russia?
yeah, I hear you. I'm married. Are you married, Bert? And you'd be like, ugh, here we go. And so, but it was Bob and Tom was fun back, and that was all you knew.
Yeah.
So, and this is Rogan. You do it in an office. I think he had a cat that would like take shits in the bathroom in the middle. It was in his office, and Joe was rich, but he wasn't Joe rich today.
Yeah.
Like Joe was like, and he would have you do this vlog after the podcast, which is so awkward. Like Brian would pull out his laptop and go, all right. And Joe's like, what's up? I just did a great podcast with Bert. So Bert, what's going on? And you'd be like, not much, Joe. It was so fucking bad. You can find those clips, I'm sure. And Joe had black facial hair, and he still had hair. He still had hair, but he wore his hat backwards because he's whatever. And so you get done the podcast, and then he'd be like, you want to go get something to eat? And so it was crazy. You know, he was also banned at the store at the time.
Yeah, that's right.
So he would do shows at the Ice House. So then, the first time I do it, I think in my head, this is not what I thought it was going to be. I can't do bits here, but I do have this Russian mafia story that I bet would be good on this show. And so I go, hey man, next time I'm here, remind me to tell you the Russian mafia story. Like a week fucking later, he's like, hey, come tell the Russian mafia story. It's like, I'm sure I'm off on timelines, but I come back, I think a week later, and he's like, everyone's wondering about this Russian mafia story. And I tell it, and I gotta be honest with you, it bombed.
Yeah.
It sometimes, I hope I'm not pulling the veil back too back. Sometimes Joe and Red Band will be fighting. And so you'd go in to do the podcast.
There'd be some tension.
And the whole thing would be them just, Joe being angry at Red Band because Red Band is saying buttholes and Olive Garden the whole time. And Joe's like, Brian, you got to realize people are fucking listening to this. And then you'd just be sitting off to the side, like watching them go back and forth. And then be like, you guys want to try some Alpha Brain? And by the way, this is when Joe's launching Alpha Brain. This is when they're launching on it, right? So he'd give you his vitamins. He'd load you up with his vitamins, give you a fleshlight, and then be like, take those Alpha Brains, tell me what you think about them. And then you'd take them, and in a real scientific way, because they promoted, what's the, lucid dreaming. And so I'm an active lucid dreamer to begin with. And so you'd come back, and he'd be like, so you took Alpha Brain? And this would be on the podcast. And you'd be like, yeah. And he'd go, so wait, what did you feel? Like the Joe analysis part of his brain. And he'd do that on the podcast about his own pills because he was trying to figure out if he liked them. And he's like, I love the Alpha Brain. I'm taking like 9 a day. I took one, Joe, I couldn't sleep. And he was like, no, what did you take? The cortisone mushrooms, the roll on, roll off, whatever the fuck. It was really interesting. And then the first time I did Rogan, I remember getting in the car and I had 3,000 Twitter followers extra. And I was like, wow. Second time I did Rogan, I told the machine story, and I went to the club and it was sold out, comped, but sold out. And then I watched it, and then the third time I did Rogan, I made a machine shirt. The machine shirt that I used to sell at shows. I got home to my house and Leanne goes, the fuck? We just sold $25,000 worth of t-shirts. She goes, I don't have those made. Woke up the next morning, she goes, we sold $90,000 worth of t-shirts in like 2 days. We had made 6 figures in those t-shirts by the end of the year, in 3 months.
Jesus.
I think we did that, must have been in November. By the end of the year, we made 6 figures in those machine shirts. Joe wore it at a weigh-in. You'd see huge fucking spikes. I go to different countries. I remember I was in
What a guy,
Amsterdam,
dude.
and they were yelling the machine in Amsterdam, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And then, I mean, so it's funny. You just get high and talk for 3 hours and not remember any of it at all. And it's crazy to see where he is today. And to, like I just did it the other day, and I'm like, it just doesn't. I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. That I remember did it one time and I got really fucked up, and I might have said that America created COVID or something. I don't know what I said. Who fucking knows what I said? They took the episode down
No way.
and then put it up in 2 parts. And then they clipped out the thing I said. I don't know. I'm terrified to ask Joe because I know that there's some parts missing. And I was like, "Hey man, did I say some regrettable stuff on your podcast the other day?" He was like, fuck it. I don't say fucked up shit. Yeah, it was great, man. It's great. I'm bummed that you guys didn't get to experience that side of the show.
Yeah.
Because it was the fun when like Joey Diaz, like we just. Man, one of the hardest I ever laughed was Joey Diaz just rolled. I never met him. This is the opening words of meeting Joey Diaz. We used to do DISC0RD nights at the Ice House where like, it was like 5 comics on the podcast with Joe, and we just do it, and we'd do a show, and so we'd hop on and off. So we'd go in to do a set and then come back to the podcast, and everyone would be fucked up. And Joey Diaz comes in. I never met him, and he's like, "Dog, you ever eat a woman's pussy on a Quaalude?" And I was like, "No." And he goes, "Lucy Snorbush." And oh, you ever break into someone's house and eat the pussy on a Quaalude? Lucy Snorbush. And we cried fucking laughing. And then I found out it's the hardest I've ever fucking laughed. One of the top 5 hardest I've ever laughed. And Joe goes, "You've never met Joey before?" And I go, "No." And he goes, "Well, you're about to be your best friend." And Joey Diaz and I, from that day on, Joey lived right around the corner from me. If we ever did that show, we'd drive out together. Those were the days, man. I miss those days so much because it was like, you guys don't understand when comics hated each other. They used to hate each other. Comics hated each other. No one wanted anyone to
We
Uh,
started
succeed.
in that.
Yeah. And I think this still exists.
Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I think this still exists, but I think that you guys did something that really transformed the way that we behave with one another, and it's like it's pretty awesome.
That's Joe.
Yeah.
That's Joe. I mean, I
Well,
think
it trickles down, man. I always say that, like what Joe does for you guys, for me, it's like what we do maybe for other people. But
I remember before I met you, you tweeted about Bring Back a Poo, and I just thought that was so fucking cool that the
Yeah.
machine is tweeting, "Yo, this is a great special. Everybody go watch it."
well, yeah, but it's the same thing that makes me say I'm lucky instead of talented. Is I love being a fan of shit. I've said this ad nauseum.
Yeah.
But I like liking stuff.
Yeah.
I don't understand the energy of disliking stuff. I don't understand that energy at all of like hating things.
Yeah.
I love liking stuff, and it makes comedy, this business, so much more fun to be a fan of your friends.
Yeah.
And to love when like
You got abundance, man.
it was so much fun when you did when you put out Infamous. It was so much fun to celebrate your success. It was so much fun. I know but if you're a fan of it,
Yeah.
and as opposed to, and I'm sure those comics are out there. I do not hang out with them. The guys that are like, fuck Schultz, you know that's bullshit, or you know whatever, all that stuff. It's so much fun to go look at this.
Yeah.
He's changing the game. Oh fuck yeah. Oh, it's on YouTube. Was it at fucking 13 million?
15.
Yeah,
15 million?
man. Yeah.
Imagine if you get to pick a team. I want to be the guy that has fun or the guy that goes to bed angry every night.
Yeah,
I'm never going to
that's
pick the angry guy. I don't want to
not
be that
even
guy.
close.
There's
Wise.
guys that make a living doing that. There are guys online that make a living doing that.
Yeah.
I want to be the guy that goes, fuck yeah. By the way, I can celebrate the guys that hate me also, because I go, that's got to be cool to hate me. I get it. Trust me. What a fucking weird episode. I've never done a podcast like this in my fucking life.
Good. That's what we want to create every time we have somebody on. A different experience.
What a weird.
Okay, before you leave, I want to ask you, as you reflect on your life, do you think that you've lived a fulfilled existence?
Yep. I've lived the best life anyone's ever lived, that anyone could ever live. No one, I mean, I can't imagine anyone
Found
will
the
cry.
love of your life?
I
You
can't-
built a family?
Yeah. I can't imagine that anyone's going to cry at my funeral.
Ooh.
I mean, we cry selfishly a
No.
lot of times.
Yep. People should. I'm going to get emotional saying this. You guys fucked me up today. I've been the luckiest fucking guy in the world. When I die, everyone should just go like, I don't deserve any of the stuff I've gotten. I don't deserve anything. And it's been like, and I've done everything in the world. I've traveled the world 4 times. I have 2 beautiful daughters. I'm in love with my wife, and I have the greatest career that I feel so lucky to have, and I have awesome fucking friends. Like, when I die, and I shouldn't have had any of it. There's people that don't have any of this shit.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
This right here is why you deserve it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I believe that.
I can't, I mean, I hope my funeral's fun.
Hey, I'll drink at your funeral, but
There you go.
not a you know,
What a
not real
beautiful,
beer, but
what a beautiful way to look at life, man.
Just no balloons.
Oh, there's
know,
gonna
it's
be
gonna be
balloons. We're all dressing up
shitloads
as
of balloons.
clowns. We're gonna lift you right out of that fucking casket. 100%.
You want me to go to heaven happy? Everyone dresses as clowns. I'll close the casket for you. Fucking start digging holes, motherfuckers. Oh, fuck me.
Guys, this has been Bert Kreischer. Give it up one more time for an absolute legend. Make sure you check out the Roast of Bert Kreischer. Make sure it's our OnlyFans Roast of Bert Kreischer.
OnlyFans.
Make sure you check out the movie, The Machine. We're all going out to support
Memorial
that.
Day weekend.
Make sure.
Buying a home, Rocket Mortgage will cover 1% of your rate for the first year at no cost to you with Inflation Buster. That's more game days, more family gatherings. Plus, if rates drop within 3 years of your home purchase, you'll get exclusive savings when you refinance with Rate Drop Advantage. Save when you buy today and refinance tomorrow. Call 8337-ROCKET today or visit inflationbuster.com to start saving.
For fees covered rate like date requirements and other terms and conditions, visit inflationbuster.com or call 1-8337-ROCKET. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states. NMLS-ConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Go to jimmydore.com to see my new stand-up special, COVID Lies Are Funny. For only $10, you get to become a premium member, too. And come see us do our live shows. We're going to be doing stand-up comedy in Milwaukee, Nashville, Honolulu, Los Angeles, Northampton, Massachusetts, Syracuse, New York, Cohoes, New York, Hartford, Connecticut, Baltimore, Maryland, and more. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets. Hey, this is Jimmy. Who's this?
Jimmy, this is former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. Hello, or should I say shalom?
Oh, my God. I know what this is about. Hi, Governor. Good to hear from you. What are you up to these days, even though I know what it is? You are totally sucking up to Israel in a way you're trying to rehabilitate.
Jimmy, I have humbled myself.
Uh-huh.
And I'm currently trying to achieve a great mitzvah.
Why are you talking like this, Governor?
Jimmy, I am speaking Jewish because
Yes.
I have decided to turn my political efforts to helping and supporting my dear friends in the Jewish community.
Yeah.
In light of this shocking rise in
Oh,
anti-Semitism,
Jesus.
I have decided to form my own advocacy group, Progressives for Israel.
Progressives for Israel?
Progressives for Israel.
Jesus.
It's all there in the name.
Yeah.
Lately, I've noticed a disturbing lack of support for Israel within the Democratic Party. And I find that unacceptable. There is no middle road. You're either with Israel or against Israel.
I heard you say that. Yeah. Is that so?
Yes, Jimmy. What about you? Are you with Israel?
I'm with the Palestinians' right to exist and not be subject to a vicious apartheid regime.
Okay, that's against Israel. That's what that is.
I wouldn't say so.
Well, I would. So expect to receive a public condemnation from my advocacy group, Progressives for Israel. Jimmy Dore of The Jimmy Dore Show receives 1 out of 5 stars of David. Oh, I forgot to mention, we have a rating system and everything.
This all seems very cynical and pandering, Mr. Governor.
What? What do you mean?
You know what I mean.
I swear I don't, Mr. Israel hater.
This smacks, like I said earlier in the sketch, this smacks of a desperate attempt at a political comeback.
Jimmy, this has nothing to do with politics. This is
Bah!
This is solely about my lifelong love of Israel and the Jewish people.
Yeah.
It is time for us Gentiles to stand up and say enough is enough.
Israel isn't a political issue?
It shouldn't be. But unfortunately, some people have politicized Israel for their own political gain.
Like who?
Senator Kirsten Gillibrand.
Oh, I see. I'll get back to that. But first, Representative Jerry Nadler has scoffed at your advocacy group, saying there are already plenty of progressive pro-Jewish organizations, such as the New York Jewish Agenda, who do not need your help.
Oh, give me a break. The New York Jewish Agenda. What a shanda. That tin horn organization won't do 1/10 of what Progressives for Israel will do to combat anti-Semitism.
Critics are saying that this is a move designed to position you to challenge Senator Gillibrand in 2024.
Oh, what a bunch of schmucks. That's nonsense. Although, I must say, now that you mention it, I suppose it couldn't hurt.
Oh, no?
Well, I mean, now that you mention it, if someone were to challenge Senator Gillibrand in 2024, they would have to take into account the massive support that she has among the Jewish community of New York State.
Right. She is a darling of the AIPAC lobby, after all.
I think you may be right about that.
Yeah, a few years ago, she sponsored a ridiculous bill that would essentially criminalize boycotting Israel for its human rights violation.
That's right. She was willing to subvert the Constitution itself to demonstrate her desire to protect Israel. Anyone going up against her would have to go above and beyond that, which won't be easy.
How would you go about that?
Well, I suppose I would force the Jewish community to ask itself, who do you want as your fierce defender of Israel? A dainty little Irish girl from Albany? Or a fucking Italian bull from Manhattan?
Hold on, I'm getting another call. Hello, this is Jimmy Dore Show.
Jimmy, this is Chuck Schumer. Oh, hi, Chuck. Don't hi, Chuck me, you grifter. Everyone can see exactly what you're doing here, this pathetic attempt at a comeback. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. What? You know exactly what, Buster. You're exploiting the Jewish community, not supporting us. How dare you? No one cares what a disgraced Johnny-come-lately thinks about Israel. Now, come on, Chuck. That's not fair. I'll tell you what's not fair. I co-sponsored that bill with Kirsten. She and I were putting our political necks on the line for AIPAC back when all you cared about was playing grab ass up in Albany. I'm perfectly capable of multitasking, I'll have you know. From the river to the sea, from the waist to the knee. Both are the promised land. Oh, you disgust me. Doesn't he disgust you, Jimmy?
Leave me out of this, Chuck.
You can't turn a bull against another bull, Chucky. Don't even try. Oh, you and your whole I'm a bull shtick. The only bull you resemble is the golden bull, the one put forth to mislead and deceive the Hebrews.
Gentlemen, I got to ask you to keep it civil, please.
Oh, nuts to that. I can't talk to this man any longer. Goodbye. But know that I will be vociferously criticizing your hijinks, mister. Good day, sirs. Wow, what got into him?
Oh, maybe he sees through you? You ever think of that?
Well, we'll see who sees through who when the high holidays come and I'm making public appearances wearing a yarmulke.
Jesus.
Or when I visit Israel and personally go to the Wailing Wall.
Oh, God.
We'll see who sees through me then.
I will see through you. I promise I will. Goodbye, Governor.
Goodbye. Or should I say shalom? Shalom also means goodbye. I just found that out like 2 days ago. Isn't that weird?
Establishment media sucks. All gaslighting, so good luck. Bullshit we can't afford. Why fomenting this? Watch and see as this jack off the median speeds and jumps the medium and hits them head on. It's the Jimmy Dore Show.
We have a special guest with us today. He's an environmental lawyer, law professor, best-selling author. It's Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and he's here with us today. Welcome to the show again. Good to see you. Thanks for coming back.
Very good to see you again. Thank you for all that you've done over the past 2 years to wake people up.
I'll take the compliment. Thanks. But right back at you. Now, I noticed this, that you are doing an exploratory search to see if you should run for president. And what I liked about it is you said that your top priority will be to end the corrupt merger between state and corporate power that has ruined our economy, shattered the middle class, polluted our landscapes, waters, poisoned our children, and robbed us of our values and freedoms. Together, we can restore America's democracy. So that's great news to hear you say that. It's good to hear it come from a Kennedy. And so why do you think those same powers, which have they rigged the 2016 Democratic election against the progressive Bernie Sanders, they were just ready to do to him what they did to Trump after he won. And then they did it again in 2020. All the powers coalesce. What makes you think that you can do this?
Well, I mean, I can run. And hopefully, I'm looking at that now. But I don't know, the reason that I'd be running is precisely to answer that question. Why does it seem like our election system is fixed and rigged? And one of the things I wrote the DNC, and I said, because President Biden and the DNC are trying to move get rid of New Hampshire as the first primary. And New Hampshire has been, running that primary for 100 years. It is the gold standard for election integrity. Nobody ever questions New Hampshire's results. And it also has served kind of as a vetting state for the rest of the states, because if you're campaigning in one of the other states, you can be a billionaire and you can go down and aerial bombard that state with advertising. You never need to answer questions. You never need to meet people. But in New Hampshire, you've got 40% of the electorate is independent. They don't make up their minds to the last minute, and they really take seriously this responsibility to interview people. And they subject these national candidates to the kind of vetting that they would get if they were running for a school board. And you'll have like an 80-year-old lady in New Hampshire who reads The Economist, once a week, in the Financial Times every day. And, she'll start grilling these people with questions and follow-up questions that they never get from the New York Times or CNN, and they're not satisfied with sound bites. So it's this wonderful process that exists. But President Biden did very badly in New Hampshire. He came in, last. He got only 8% of the vote. So now what they're trying to do is move South Carolina, which is a state that's much easier to control, to the front of the line. I sent a letter to them saying, and then they've also announced they're not going to have debates. And I was like, okay, well, what happened to democracy? We're supposed to be the party of the New Deal, not the rigged deal. And we're at a time in our history when everybody is questioning electoral integrity. It's become the kind of the fulcrum of this terrible polarization that's occurring in our country. And it's so disturbing to people that literally, there was an insurgency against the United States government because people were angry about this issue, justified or not. It is a very important issue. People at this point sort of affirm what everybody's saying by trying to resolve rather than proving to people we have a democracy that's actually functioning, that we're not frightened of, that
But we don't have a democracy that's functioning. I mean, that's.
I still like to pretend that we do, but you're right. No, I mean, we no longer have a functioning democracy in this country, and that is the truth. We have what is really a merger of state and corporate power. And
what's the word for that? There's a word for that, right?
Oh, there is a word. It's called fascism.
That's right. And so doesn't it drive you crazy? Because it drives me crazy to hear the corporate media, which is now and the establishment media, which now favors the Democratic Party, pretend like only one party is fascist, when we know that Joe Biden, after he told people vote for Democrats in the midterms and you'll be voting to save democracy, the first act that the Democrats did was crush a railroad union strike, which is the definition of fascism. So does it bother you as much as me that we pretend that only one party's fascist in America when obviously the Democrats are just as fascist?
I think both parties, and, I think the tribalism is just so toxic because people, when they're in that tribal mode, they cannot, there's no kind of self-awareness, and they're completely targeted on all the bad things about the other person, and they're blind to the stuff that they're doing. I mean, Democrats at this point are very worried about January 6th, which is, an obsession, which was bad. It was an attack on our Capitol. And the people who did it, who broke the law, should go to jail. If you didn't break the law, you shouldn't. But to me, it's much more serious if we're starting to censor free speech. You can rebuild a Capitol. If you eliminate the Constitution, there's really nothing left of America. And the free speech is the bedrock of our Constitution. And it's my party that is censoring speech more aggressively than, it's happening on both sides. But it's systematic that if you complain about government policies on COVID, about masking, about anything, about Ukraine, you'll get censored. You'll get thrown off the internet. If you're a doctor or a scientist who is showing, scientific studies, or who is, even people like I've been censored for posting screenshots of CDC website,
right,
as misinformation, which it's very bizarre. But that to me is the most disturbing. Once you start messing with the First Amendment, that really is an attack on American democracy. You can't have a democracy without the free flow of information. You just can't. Nobody can argue. I mean, if you're scared, if you feel like you have to censor speech to protect the public from bad thoughts, then you have lost faith in the public, in the demos, and you can no longer call yourself a democracy.
Well, I don't mind so you called the Democratic Party your party. What has the Democratic Party done in the last 40 years that has anything resembling your ideals?
Listen, first of all, the answer to your question is the Democratic Party has been much better traditionally on the environment than the Republican Party. So that's one answer. There are others too on other issues as well, on civil rights and many other issues. So you can argue that, but I don't want to argue. What I've tried to avoid is creating a binary dispute between Republicans and Democrats, because I think that just feeds the polarization. And what I really would rather talk about is the things that we can all agree on, and not the things that are driving us apart. And by the way, Jimmy, the United States of America has let me down in many ways, I feel, during my lifetime. The way that our government behaves. I still love my country. The Catholic Church did a lot of things that let me down, I feel.
Jeez.
But I still love my church. So, you can love an institution and you can recognize that it's not doing what it promised to do. And, our obligation is to, to me, the obligation is not to abandon it, but to try to fix it. And I think So anyway, that's the answer. That's a short question.
I got you. So, the reason why there's the hyper focus and this division in the country, this is my theory, and the reason why the corporate media and the Democratic Party are just set on dividing this country and treating their neighbor as if it's your enemy, and is because the Democratic Party about 30 years ago or longer abandoned the workers in America. Bill Clinton did it. He was not the lesser of two evil. He did things that George Bush I could never get accomplished, like NAFTA, which cut the legs out from underneath unions ever since. And Barack Obama was he was a continuation of George W. Bush. So I don't want to go over this again. But that's what's happening. And so do you think that you can repair somehow a political party to then care about the workers again? Because as Chuck Schumer admitted, that they don't even care. The Democratic Party isn't even trying to get workers, blue-collar workers, to vote for them anymore. That for every blue-collar worker they'll lose, they're going to pick up 2 white-collar workers in the suburbs. And he said you can repeat that over and over and over again. And that's what the Democratic, and that's why we're living where nobody wants to vote and they can only vote out of hate. And do you really think that you can get the Democratic Party to get off the corporate spigot of money and actually represent workers again? Because that's the problem with the Democratic Party. They don't represent workers, which makes them vulnerable to demagogues like Trump. And we all know this, right?
Yeah, and I agree with you. We got to, returning to the union roots is critical to the Democratic Party. But let me answer that question kind of in another way, which is the fulcrum of what you just said is that the Democratic Party has sold its soul to the corporations, and it doesn't care about workers anymore. It's basically a creature of this merger of corporate and government power, and the place where that occurs is inside the agencies. Oh, I've spent 40 years suing these agencies. I've sued, not only, and you've seen my suits in recent years against FDA, CDC, NIH, because the HHS is captured by the pharmaceutical industry. I just came from East Palestine, Ohio, where we're representing, 600 clients whose lives have been upturned by this train wreck, and that train wreck is a function of agency capture. That DOT does not work for the American people anymore. It works for the railroad companies and, some places, the airline companies. I've spent many years suing USDA, Department of Agriculture, and the agencies that have captured, or the companies that have captured the big food processors, the big ag company, Monsanto. We are, as part of the trial team, the biggest case, in history, $13 billion victory, ultimately settlement with Monsanto. But I've sued dozens of times, Smithfield Food, Tyson's, Pilgrim, all of the big food companies and agricultural companies that have captured that agents or that department. EPA is captured by the oil industry and the pesticide industry. When we sued Monsanto, we found out during discovery that the head of the pesticide division at EPA was actually secretly working for Monsanto for decades. And they were corresponding with each other. And he was sending these emails to Monsanto saying, I'm about to kill this study for you, and you better give me a medal for this one. So he was just, so that's happening in all these agencies. Now, these government officials, like presidential candidates, whether it's Obama or President Trump or Biden, come into office saying, I'm going to get rid of the swamp. I'm going to get rid of the corruption. But then they get in there and something happens. Trump got in there saying, I'm going to get rid of the swamp. He asked me to be on a vaccine safety commission. When that news got out, Pfizer gave him $1 million for the inauguration and then for his inaugural party. And then he appointed two of Pfizer's lobbyists, Scott Gottlieb and Alex Azar, to run HHS, and they killed the Vaccine Safety Commission. And then Gottlieb went to serve on Pfizer's board. That is the.
Hey guys, ready? Hey guys. Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is here, and we here at Breaking Points are already thinking of ways we can up our game for this critical election.
We rely on our premium subs to expand coverage, upgrade the studio, add staff, give you guys.
We've got rail safety legislation that we're going to get into. Google's coming out with its chat points. I'm Ryan Grimm here with Emily Jashinsky. We've got a lot to get into today. Former President Trump might go ahead and get himself arrested either later today or later this week. We've got rail safety legislation that we're going to get into. Google's coming out with its Chat GPT.
Huge news on the China and Russia front as the leaders met this week. There's a lot to break down when it comes to that.
President Biden's first woke veto.
That's right.
And the Federal Reserve meets later today. For a long time, the Fed had been expected to hike rates by another half point. But the kind of tech bros taking down Silicon Valley Bank has trimmed the sails on the aspirations of the Fed a little bit. People are expecting now it'll be a quarter-point increase, which actually amounts to billions of dollars in extra kind of easing flowing into Silicon Valley. So job well done, taking that bank down.
Heck of a job, Brownie.
And there was some speculation that perhaps they wouldn't raise rates at all, but then there was reverse speculation saying, oh, but then that will panic people. Because nobody's saying, wait a minute, if the Fed isn't raising rates at all, how scared is the Fed about the state? What do they know?
Yeah.
And then it sparks a run. So it is difficult. You have to, it is very difficult dealing with humans.
What you're saying is that you're glad you're not Powell.
Well, it's probably a lot of fun, though, right?
Yeah.
Just to have the fate of the world at your fingertips.
Right. No, it sounds exhilarating.
Yeah, sure it is. So we'll wait for that.
Speaking of things being exhilarating, big news on the Republican 2024 presidential campaign front as Ron DeSanctimonious, Meatball Ron, you could go down the list, is talking about President Trump. I wouldn't say he's going on offense. I wouldn't say he's even hitting back that hard. He's been pressed by Piers Morgan in a new interview that's set to air on Thursday on Fox Nation. We have the first clip to show you right here. Take a look.
What is your favourite nickname that Trump's given you so far? Is it Ron DeSanctimonious or Meatball Ron?
Well, I can't.
I think even he went off Meatball Ron.
I can't. I don't know how to spell DeSanctimonious. I don't really know what it means, but I kind of like it's long. It's got a lot of vowels. I mean, so we'd go with that. That's fine. You can call me whatever you want. I mean, just as long as you also call me a winner.
Okay, right. The reason I say he's not pushing back too hard or going on offense is because Piers Morgan really is trying to pull this stuff out of him. It doesn't look like Ron DeSantis is super eager to be talking about Donald Trump, but he is. He is. This is the preview that we have of the DeSantis versus Trump campaign.
Right. This interview came a couple of hours after DeSanctimonious had made his public comments making fun of Trump for having an affair with a porn star.
He
was kind of worked up when he sat down with Pierce. No. But this is my favorite kind of populism, when a Harvard and Yale graduate pretends that he doesn't know what words mean and that there are lots of vowels.
He said he didn't know how to spell DeSanctimonious, which, to be fair, that's not
How do you
easy.
spell DeSanctimonious?
Because Donald Trump spells things in many different ways.
My favorite was when somebody spelled little Marco with T's, and Trump corrected him. No, there's D's.
Right.
It's little Marco.
It's simply
Come on.
incorrect.
Yeah.
So DeSantis also said, when he was asked what the differences are between him and Donald Trump, he says, well, I think there are a few things. The approach to COVID was different. I would have fired somebody like Fauci. I think he got way too big for his britches, and I think he did a lot of damage. And then he went on to say, we don't have, if you bring your own agenda into my administration, you're gone. The way we run the government, I think, is no daily drama, focuses on the big picture, and puts points on the board. And I think that's very important. Let's put the country first rather than worry about any personalities or any type of individual. Again, I don't think Ron DeSantis is super excited to have to make this contrast. I don't think either of them believes it's ideal that the other is in the race. But and Ron DeSantis has been really careful about needling Trump, looking like he's needling Trump. This, to me, the big takeaway from this is that he's very close to an announcement. That would be my perspective.
Yeah, he told Piers Morgan, how does he keep getting these interviews, by the way?
Piers Morgan?
It's amazing.
I don't know, he just asks.
Yeah,
Calls him
and they're
up.
like, sure, I'll talk to Piers Morgan. So yeah, he told Piers Morgan in this interview, which will air tomorrow on, what is it, Fox Nation or something
Fox
like that?
Nation,
Which is
right.
their attempt, like the CNN Plus of Fox.
Except successful. It's on Thursday.
People are parting with their money, apparently, for Fox Nation. Said, stay tuned. So basically, he's going to, unless he backs out at the last minute. But in some ways, he's just no match for Trump when it comes to these insults. You watch at the end of that clip, he says, I don't care what you call me, just call me a winner. So cringe.
Yeah, and
ugh.
but this is why nobody is a match for Trump. And I do think DeSantis is smart enough to have recognized that for months and months and months, which is why I think the big takeaway from this interview is really that, I mean, we kind of knew what this was going to look like with the contrast that DeSantis's vantage point at what the contrast is. We knew that what that was going to look like, the broad outlines of it. But I think the big takeaway here is that he's very close to making an official presidential announcement because he spent so much time avoiding exactly this. And again, I think he's not eager to do it in the same way that Trump is eager to go after him. And Crystal and Soccer talked about some of the very interesting ways that's unfolding yesterday. But I think he knows that nobody can really take on Donald Trump. Right. We saw all of these candidates fall one after one after one after thinking finally they'd figured out the way to go mano a mano with Donald Trump, and it never panned out. So I think that's where you're seeing caution on DeSantis's part. But the fact that he finally took on some of these questions instead of deflecting them, which is when it's not as though he hasn't gotten these questions in the past. He's just deflected them. So the fact that he's taken them, I think, means he's about to make his announcement.
Right, and to show how poorly matched he is in this kind of a fight, Trump responded to him. I don't know if we have this, but he on his little Truth Social, he writes back, and this is just a perfect way that just Trump ups it to nuclear level. He says, Ron DeSanctimonious will probably find out about false accusations. Wait, how would we say this? About false accusations? I can't do a Trump. False accusations? How's your Trump?
It's a little better.
Sometime in the future. As he gets older, wiser, and better known, when he's unfairly and illegally attacked by a woman, even classmates that are underage, or possibly a man.
Possibly a man!
Parentheses, exclamation point. I'm sure he will want to fight these misfits just like I do. So it's like, okay, you don't like the name DeSanctimonious? How about I accuse you of partying with underage men?
Yeah, of being gay.
Yeah.
This is so classic Donald Trump.
Where do you go from there? Like, when he's ratcheted it up there.
Right.
Yeah, he said, well, call me whatever you want. Make sure you call me a winner. Yeah.
Make sure you call me straight is where it's going next. So, speaking of where things are going next, Donald Trump, we have all been waiting with bated breath in the media and in the country at large for a possible arrest if he is indicted by a grand jury in New York. That could come today. Reports seem to be suggesting that it actually will happen next week. Ryan, just on the timeline, let's pause here for a second. Donald Trump is the one who gave us the Tuesday date, which was yesterday. But that obviously didn't pan out. It now looks like they heard from their last witness yesterday, which is why some people expect it could happen today. There are reports from the Daily Mail that it's going to happen next week. What do you make of this timeline? When do you think it's likely, if he is indicted, that an arrest takes place?
And it seems like Trump's intel on a Tuesday arrest was coming from the fact that Monday was supposed to be a last, like you said, witness. Then the grand jury has to vote. There's 23 members on the grand jury. As long as there's a majority vote, then a sealed indictment is produced. But then Bragg has to make decisions from there. Like, it's not fait accompli at that point that he's indicted, and it's not a fait accompli actually that Bragg will ask for an indictment. And he could still decide, you know what, I'm actually not going to go forward with this. There's some reporting that there could be another witness that comes before the grand jury this afternoon. But there is speculation that there will be a vote this afternoon. But like you said, that doesn't immediately lead to Trump getting cuffed. Trump has said that he will fly up from Mar-a-Lago, turn himself in, and then you'll go through this entire ritual, of doing the fingerprints and the mugshot, which to me is just so strange that you would need a mugshot of former President Donald Trump. I think the government has a photo of him. I'm also not sure he's that much of a flight risk. He's the most recognizable man on the planet. fingerprints, I suppose, then you can like check to see if he was handling these documents or something. But Bragg's case is all about Stormy Daniels, where while you still have the documents case ongoing, there was a ruling in that just yesterday afternoon. They may be back in court on that one today. That's in federal court. And then you have the Georgia grand jury that is still pursuing charges. And to me, the Georgia case is the only one that I get really interested in because it's about something substantial. Like it's about the stolen election. It's about Trump's effort to kind of steal it back to trigger ultimately January 6th.
Yeah.
So that to me is something that is fair for Democrats to contest and for prosecutors to go after because it's so fundamental to the core value of democracy in the United States. To invent kind of a rationale to say that, well, this payoff to this porn star used campaign funds and you should have listed it in your billing records as this expense, but you actually listed it as this expense to Michael Cohen. So we're going to combine all these and call it a low-level felony. When John Edwards was able to beat probably an even worse example of it, that doesn't clear the bar for me, and neither does like the document stuff. But that's because I'm more of a civil liberties person that thinks that there's too much that's overclassified, and you have to kind of see what the documents are. So somewhat of an open mind there. But yeah, where do you? I mean, on principle, I think nobody's above the law.
Right.
And if you've got the goods on a former president, then you should prosecute him. Like, and as growing up, we were always taught like Richard Nixon wasn't above the law, except he did get a pardon. and there's something beautiful about that fact that nobody is above the law. At the same time, you don't want to gin up a case.
Right.
Just for politics, just to prove nobody's above the law.
I mean, if we want to start playing this game, you can do the show me the person, I'll show you the crime thing, depending on who's in charge of which prosecutor's office, who's in charge of the FBI at any given time. And by the way, we saw this with the raid on Trump that was framed by the media and the political establishment as a clear-cut criminal case. And then when it came to Joe Biden, it was not. It came to Joe Biden in a similar situation. That same framing had just kind of tapered off. So I agree. I mean, I think anytime somebody is doing something wrong, whether it's unethical or unlawful, that is entirely fair game for people to investigate, and it's entirely fair game for the media to scrutinize. But to ratchet something up to felony level is a really, really dangerous game. When I first saw this news, I think it was like last week that we were heading in this direction. I don't know about you, but my stomach just dropped. And there were these immediate, Trump talked about people taking to the streets and protesting, and Republicans were really freaked out about that and said, basically they're trying to ratchet this up, make these, heighten the tensions and heighten the contradictions and get you really ready to do something that's going to be problematic for your cause. And I don't know that it's intentional, but you can see that this would head in a very negative direction. Trump, according to a new report in the New York Times, is very apparently telling people he's very ready for this to happen. He thinks that there's some showmanship that can be played out if he doesn't even mind, according to the Times, getting cuffed, and has sort of mused about whether it'd be better to smile, what the right kind of stylistic approach would be to that very physical situation. Now, if he does just turn himself in, Bragg doesn't have to go through that. They don't have to perp walk him. I think it's much better for the country that they don't. I think it's much better for the country that they don't create a felony charge, fabricate really a felony charge on an obscure legal theory that this constituted a felonious campaign finance violation, because that's where you get into Banana Republic territory and the power starts to really get wielded in terrifying ways.
And I would still love to see Trump prosecuted for something, but to me, what about selling U.S. foreign policy to Saudi Arabia for billions of dollars? Like you could make that case if you actually cared, but they don't want to make that case because Trump only did it on a more aggressive and more brazen scale than everybody in our kind of political ecosystem does it. So I think that the thing that has protected him from more serious charges is the fact that he's the most brazen criminal among a gang of criminals in Washington.
He is more brazen about it.
But if you go after him, then you're like, well, wait a minute. What about this selling of our foreign policy for this amount of money? Why don't we get that one too? Which I'd say, okay, roll them all up.
Republicans on the Oversight Committee last week released bank records showing this transaction between a Chinese energy company, a Biden business associate, and then about $1 million worth of payouts to different Bidens in the course of a couple months. And so, again, there is a difference in the brazenness. There's no question about it. But if we're going to start doing this, we're going to start doing this. There's no way around it. And I do think that the same standards should apply. I do think that, it's incredible for Joe Biden to be able to, that the media lets Joe Biden get away and Democrats get away with claiming the moral high ground on all of this just because everybody hates Donald Trump. We look away from all of these other things. But when things are not at a felony level and you start looking at them that way, other things that aren't at a felony level are going to start being looked at that way. And it will feel like a banana republic.
And one of my favorite political analysts, Chris Rock, if we can put up his comments here, this happened at some type of a private event, so unfortunately we don't have...
The Mark Twain Award for Adam Sandler, who absolutely deserves a Mark Twain Award and is an American treasure.
And unfortunately, we don't have video of this because... But you can... We all know Chris Rock so well that you can actually just imagine him. Mm-hmm. The AI in your head can just kind of produce the video for you, but...
Or you can do Michael Scott's impression.
There you go. There you go. So his argument that basically this is going to actually help Donald Trump.
Right.
Using the Tupac Shakur argument that he sold 3 million records while he was in prison. What's your guess? Trump, as you were saying, seems to believe that himself, that this might actually kind of rebound to his benefit. Do you think that's right, or does it depend?
I think it rebounds to Republicans' benefits, but not to Trump's benefit, because there's if you're arrested and that image is sort of indelible in the public consciousness, I think that's really hard to get away with or get away from. So I just don't. I do like what Chris Rock says here. He says he slept with a porn star and paid off someone so his wife wouldn't find out. That's romantic. And Donald Trump is clearly not getting enough credit for being a romantic.
That's true. It's really a soft side of Donald Trump.
In that sense, yes, it helps him. But no, I think it
humanizes him a little bit. Yeah. What a sweetheart he is.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's, he's getting at why it's really hard to classify this as a campaign finance violation, because you have to prove it was done in order to help your campaign and not your marriage.
Well, ironically, the argument that Trump would have to make on his own behalf would be to say, I'm just such a flagrant cheater that you think that I actually care about my wife. No, this was purely about the campaign.
This is all the campaign.
And that was a harder argument for Edwards to make. Mm-hmm. Because Edwards was trying to cover this up from his family and for reasons of personal embarrassment. Like that was clear. That it wasn't just about the campaign. Donald Trump could be like, look, I'm a complete narcissist and kind of sociopath. I don't care what people think of me. Like, I like bad news about me because it gets my name in the press. Like he could call all of the therapists that have talked to The Atlantic over the years, and they'll come in and say, yep, we have actually diagnosed him in the pages of The Atlantic as all the things he says.
Expert witnesses.
He does not care what you say about him as long as you say something about him. So the fact that he covered something up that would have been in the news suggests it must have been calculation about a campaign.
It's the only answer.
It's the only thing that makes any sense.
It's the only reasonable explanation.
Now, Melania was pregnant at the time, and there is some evidence that made him feel a little extra guilty.
I don't know.
So maybe there is something underneath that sociopathy, that some human element that was touched.
But this is why we can't trust the psychological experts, the armchair,
true,
in The Atlantic, because honestly, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what goes on there?
Turns out you can't trust the psychiatrists in The Atlantic just diagnosing off of television. Who knew?
It's honestly, it's a good lesson for all of us. But it is also true, by the way, just one final quick thought, that Trump, whether this hurts Trump or ultimately boosts him, I don't buy the argument it boosts him, because I think it's possible that it sets him on an even more We've seen his True Social posts, which are, I think, a step up from his Twitter posts. Actually getting arrested, the sort of psychological effect of that, not to be an armchair psychiatrist myself, but actually getting arrested, I think it's possible sends him on a very different trajectory. And that's not one that'll be politically beneficial. It certainly wouldn't be beneficial for the country, is my assumption. But I don't know. He's full of surprises.
As long as he's got a bootleg phone behind bars, like one of these androids
Yeah,
has
right,
to
right.
text to Twitter or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is how some of us had to do it in high school.
There you go.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
All right, so let's move on to the news out of Eastern Europe. There are new developments, obviously, in the war in Ukraine that came this week as Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping met for a couple of days. Didn't have a lot to discuss about the war itself, but certainly had a lot to discuss in general. The New York Times is reporting that the Biden administration vowed last month to crack down on companies that sell critical technologies to Russia as part of its efforts to curtail the country's war against Ukraine. But the continued flow of Chinese drones to the country explains why that will be hard. Now, China has sold more than 12 million in drones and drone parts to the country, according to official Russian customs data from a third-party data provider. That's reporting from the New York Times. Ryan, $12 million in drones and drone parts to the country. Kind of a drop in the bucket when you look at the budget of this war overall. What do you expect after this meeting that happened this week? Do you expect big increases?
Right. U.S. support at this point, what is closing in on $100 billion with a B. And if $12 million with an M, from China over to Russia is going to tip the balance, then we might be in a match that like we can't keep up with. Like that's, I can't even do the math. One 1,000th, 100th of the amount that we've invested so far. These drones have become kind of an iconic part of the battle between Ukraine and Russia. As even the smaller ones used to help troops see what's in front of them. Each one gets like a couple of flights max. Before it gets shot down by the other side, which is why you have to constantly replenish them. But as experts say in this New York Times article, this is not, at this point, the kind of sophisticated technology that sanctions and other controls are going to be able to keep out of the hands of China and Russia. Like they can make a drone. Like you can practically make one in your garage at this point. And warfare tool that the United States is using. China's argument that it's making publicly was we should stop using the global economy as a weapon. And as a principle, that's a fairly persuasive argument because what you're doing is you're using the suffering of the world's people as a diplomatic tool to try to find a solution for particular or acute crises. And I think the bar to do that has to be extraordinarily high. Now, China's peace plan, I can understand why Ukraine is like, no. Like China's peace plan was, let's do a ceasefire and lift all sanctions on Russia. It's like, well, that's kind of exactly what Russia would prefer. And yet, Russia didn't even actually say that they wanted that.
And that's, Xi Jinping is not obviously promoting that charitable interpretation of what he's saying. To your point, he undercuts exactly what he's saying. And he undercuts, by the way, a lot of what he says about the West when he does